endless resilience through the pain. I'm a warrior.
Self-bio, sleep on checkmate. Are you kidding? Marco to the rescue. The blade comes out and he shuts it all down in one fell swoop. Absolutely stomping. Oh, what is that? Haven't even gotten to the bridge. Backbone.
Warrior, I'm a hurricane like Gloria. I won't fail my times now. Rise of glory, won't back down. I take the pain and I let it out. On the mountaintop, shout it out. Break away, let me demonstrate my mentality. Activate. Oh,
Rampage through the side room. Everybody, massive for Bernard. Catches everybody else.
I'm a warrior.
Gonna look to make it happen. And there it is. Proper. Cannot be stopped.
On the mountaintop, shout it out. Break away, let me demonstrate my mentality. Activate.
Welcome everyone to the Overwatch League. We are here in the APAC region, Trid, and I'm so excited to join you because today is going to mean a lot for the two series that we have currently on our hands between the Hangzhou Spark and the Philadelphia Fusion, as well as the Shanghai Dragons versus the Seoul Dynasty.
Yeah, it's the final day of the Summer Showdown qualifiers. Most of the teams have kind of clinched their positions or have been proven to be outside of qualification range. But actually, teams here, 3 out of the 4 teams today have a lot on the line. The only team that cannot have their position really affected that much is going to be the Spark. The Philadelphia Fusion, however, they need to win, not only beat the Spark, but beat them by a certain margin in order to qualify for the tournament stage. Taking a look at the season standings first, surprising probably no one at this point, Vicky, the Seoul Dynasty and the Shanghai Dragons on top with equal records when it comes to win and losses. That's very important because only one of them can take a win today and move ahead in the standings as we reach the tournament stage.
Yeah, really, the one team that did shift a little bit in the overall season standings was the Charge, actually going on top of the Valiant this time around. With the performance that the Charge have had in the stage, it's to no surprise, and getting those overall points are extremely important, just as important as we're going to see in the stage standings currently. We already have 3 locked-in teams, but the reason why we highlighted how important this first series is going to be is because you see that 4th place spot right there with the Chengdu Hunters. They're sweating right now, Trid, because the Fusion, this is their opportunity to dethrone them, take over that 4th place spot, and then we'll kind of see another Hunters habit here where they always fall short in the last week of qualifiers to make it into the actual tournament.
It's a really interesting position for the Hunters to be in. They're not going to be playing today, so they have to sit back and accept the fate that's handed to them from the Philadelphia Fusion and the Spark. Let's take a look at that Philly roster because there's going to be an important change from previous weeks that's being enacted from what we saw yesterday. MN3 starting once again for the Philadelphia Fusion, had great potential and had a great performance yesterday, expecting more of the same. You got to remember, Vicky, up until yesterday against the Fusion, Seoul Dynasty had not lost a map. This reinvigorated Philadelphia Fusion came in and took them down to the wire. Philly fan stocks, yes, disappointing you didn't come through with the win ultimately, but you've got to be impressed with the performance and you've got to be riding a nice little high moving into today. This is very winnable for the Philadelphia Fusion. As we mentioned though, Vicky, it's not about picking the dub, it's about picking the map differential to dodge the tiebreaker against the Hunters.
Especially the fact that the Fusion were able to take Seoul Dynasty, the team that had not dropped a single map in this stage, to game number 5. It's going to be interesting. They're facing off against the Spark. Now, this is something common that we see here in the APAC region as we take a look at the Hangzhou Spark lineup right now. Shy, Alpha Yi, Bernard, Irony, and Super Rich. Trid, this is the year of the rookies. We said it at the very beginning in the very first stage for a reason. Alpha Yi really coming through. Obviously, here on the other side of things, looking at the Fusion, Zest, MN3 also popping off in their own regards, but these teams have fought, I believe, a total of 5 times this season, which is the most that 2 teams have fought so far in general in this season alone. So Philly currently lead the matches 3-2 over the Spark, which is very interesting to see because with that just 1 point difference, these 2 teams are very neutral, close in regards to the way that these two teams have played. But now with the inclusion of MN3, I think things are going to change a lot here for the Philly and their confidence after the series just yesterday. Yeah, they lost against the Dynasty, but what does this mean here for Philadelphia? Does this mean now that they're going to dominate? They're going to carry some of that momentum going forward? I mean, his performance yesterday just cannot be ignored.
Yeah, I absolutely hope we're going to see glimmers of the Fusion we saw yesterday. But to get down to brass tacks, so to speak, for the audience at home, if the Philadelphia Fusion are going to qualify for the tournament stage of the Summer Showdown, they need to win this series with a +2 map differential.
Yeah.
A +2 map differential means a 3-1 scoreline or a 3-0 scoreline. If Spark pick up 2 maps in this series, regardless of whether they win or lose, the Philadelphia Fusion will end their Summer Showdown run. So, Philadelphia Fusion fans, you're praying that you get an early lead, you close it out with the 3-0 or the 3-1. Something that's entirely possible for the Philadelphia Fusion to do. But if the Spark get a little bit tricky, pull out some surprises, or just come up and have a bit of diff today, it's all over for you guys.
Oh, man. While we get set up here in our first map going on to Legion, I gotta say, the Fusion, I mean, they took Seoul to map 5. I could see them being very capable of beating the Spark, but this is Fusion that we're talking about. We were joking about it while we got set up, Trid, but I mean, let's be honest here, especially looking at the track record right now. They can not only take Seoul to map 5 and are capable of beating the Spark at least 3-1, but at the same time, they could also get 3-0'd by Spark or even get reversed 3-0'd by Spark, because this is Philly at the end of the day. Now, hopefully here, I
love the confidence. I love the confidence exuding from your voice that Philadelphia Fusion can close this one out, Vicky. You're just like, this is Philly, guys. Remember, like, this could go either way. No, let's ride some stocks. Let's give them the vote of confidence. They kind of earned it after yesterday's performance.
Very
already
true.
they're taking the fight through the Spark. Zest picking up the first blood of the series, taking down Irony, and really making this easy for the Fusion to close it out. Alfie taking down Zest, however, gonna cause a pause for thought, quite literally, as it stems the flow of the fight. Probably will get that resolved quickly and get back into the action, but currently it is Fusion who has the man advantage in the fight with 4 members against 3 after that initial skirmish. Point has not unlocked yet, though.
Yeah, and the point didn't even get unlocked yet. So quick pause at the very start for that initial engagement. Hopefully we get that settled real soon, see which of these players are having some technical issues. But while getting set up here and looking at what we have on store, it's no surprise, Trade, that we have obviously the Jugger Queen and the Sojourn compositions coming out from both teams. Now, it's nice to highlight some things that we saw different from our other APAC teams yesterday. We saw the Echo come out. We saw the Ashe come out. Now, it really trickles down to the fact that some of these teams have made those decisions depending on the maps that we have on our hands and which of these teams feel more comfortable going for what comps that they want to go for. Obviously, though, a lot of the question behind MN3 yesterday was, is he going to be sticking to the Sojourn? Is he going to ever swap over to the Ashe? Well, that decision was fantastic for Philly because MN3 had his pop-off moments. He had those crucial picks that he needed to get with the Sojourn. On the other side of things,
about option number 3, though, Vicky. You forgot about option number 3. You forgot about the Widowmaker.
The Widow, the quick Widow. Oh, yeah.
The MN3 Widow,
Busan.
which people were, I don't know about this one. MN3
disgusting.
Widow coming in. Yes, but that's the thing. We've seen it played a couple of times on Sanctuary in particular for a Widowmaker to come out. I think that's a very niche pick, and I doubt we'll see it unless Busan is going to be in our map set later today, and it does go to Sanctuary again. I feel like it's very much relegated to that point in time right now. But yes, you asking Sojourn or Ashe, it's Sojourn or Widowmaker, because it was a majority Sojourn performance for MN3 yesterday.
It's nice. It's nice to be able to see that change up, though, from M3 and even our other teams with some quick adaptations between the FAR even being used up on Legion. And, you know, when it comes to the way that the Spark have been playing, they want to be able to take away that momentum from the Philly with the way that they performed just yesterday. Though, looking at the history between both these teams, again, Fusion do have the lead at the moment while we still are getting things set up here from this pause. It's nice to break these things down, though, because you have the history to look at. You have, you know, the record doesn't lie here, but the Fusion have kind of wavered off a bit, and I think that's why including MN3 just yesterday against a dominating team like the Dynasty is something great for the Fusion to build up that foundation, especially when it comes to this last series that they're going to be playing to determine whether they qualify or not into the Summer Showdown tournament.
Yeah, and of course, we've already outlined it, they need a +2 map differential to make this work. And also, actually, a +2 map differential gives them, potentially, they can leapfrog into 3rd, I believe, and get auto-qualification for the playoffs, if they can manage to do that as well. So there's an added bonus on the line, particularly for the Fusion, but I'll have to double-check where the standings are when we get a quick break. But yes, a lot on the line for Fusion, because they've been like that team throughout the season, haven't they, where they've had those moments of greatness. They've been kind of like just knocking on the door of the room where Shanghai Dragons and the Philadelphia and the Seoul Dynasty are just hanging out, just chilling, vibing. They've been trying to get past the doorman, but they don't know the password for the speakeasy, so they kind of fall short every time. They're trying to get the password now, and if they can have a strong performance today against the Spark, auto qualification doesn't quite get them in the room, but it gives them something to go off of.
And I kind of want to bring something up because we mentioned it while we still are getting ready, guys. We mentioned it earlier on when we introduced Philly, and it's nice to pinpoint that with the Spark 2. A lot of these teams have had their rookie pop-off players. Now, I feel like something that's been interesting and kind of been a discussion here is what's going on with the new blood, and then right now with the foundation of a lot of these teams looking at Architect and Carpe. But, you know, we're going to hold on to that thought for right now. We can touch up on that in that next break here because we are off from the pause and we are getting started here with the point not only going online, but with those trades, it did favor the Fusion for this initial fight.
Does allow them to get that first cap as well and push everyone back. Ultimate charge seems relatively even across the board. It's just MN3 is getting a little bit ahead of the opposite man from Shy. We will just have to play on these off angles right now. Maybe look at some crossfire in a moment, but it's all centralized around these stairs for the time being. Big push back there, finds Super Rich and Zest going to cut them down. Already Spark on the back foot on their counter attack, and Irony, Shy, Alpha E all going to follow through. Zest gets to play cleanup on these final kills. It's MN3 who actually dinks the final shot. 30% in climbing for the Fusion.
Nice team fight win for the Fusion again. Second time back-to-back now as Alpha E is going to try to make his engagement, something that Alpha E does a lot that we've seen already before in the past. Trying to get some of those cheeky angles. You can see him now trying to get into position. Super Rich just trying to get him right there before deciding to split some of that attention to help out Bernard, get him into place here too. But the Fusion already having that advantage in terms of percentage. 45 and climbing right now, looking fantastic.
Yeah, they're over the halfway mark right now in terms of their map percentage. MN3 gets absolutely deleted by Shy. This is the window of opportunity for Spark now. They want to get the flip before it goes into final fight territory. Ult is still coming online. There's a bit more stall out here. Zest might get a blade well ahead of the support ultimates, but with Fury and Aim God going down, it's game over for this fight. Spark have to get the flip at this point, and it's time for the Fusion to go on the offensive.
While Super Rich does finish cleaning up the rest of the Fusion, it's nice to know how important right there you saw with MN3 going down, the dominating turnover that Spark was able to have just on this point alone. They finally get the point in their favor though, and it's already 68% in favor for the Fusion, and now they're about to dive in with a plethora of ultimates to work with.
Absolutely, Zest eyeing up that Dragon Blade. Super Rich does have the beat to be able to counter that one, so you obviously get the trade that comes out so often. Dashes in, closes the gap, pulls out the blade. Nice disengage there to push them away. Beats being traded by both sides. Rally comes out from Irony, but Zest does not manage to find the kill. Shy shuts him down with the overclock, turns attention over to MN3, who's also trading out with their overclock. Look at the health bars on the side of the Spark. They're so low, they just need to be tapped, but there's no damage dealers running around to get the finish off. Aim God's going to have to step up to the plate, but it is not enough for the Fusion, and Spark will still hold on to this point.
An expensive fight, but that's fine because you have both rampages coming on for both sides here. But the way that you saw that Zest had immediately gotten shut down from that initial blade by Shy really is going to highlight Shy's positioning here. Take a look at what Zest is going to do in the future against a player like Shy with the position that he is able to hold to actually negate a lot of the damage and pressure that Zest wants to put down into Irony and Super Rich.
They're now about to surpass the map percentage that the Fusion have set, taking the lead effectively in this round. They don't have position at the point, so they will have to step up to the Fusion. Looking towards those rampages now, but Aim God's already been removed from Alfie. So much attention being paid over to the Brigitte and the Fusion, and it causes the team to just collapse. There's nothing there to help fix it out. Who also suffer the same fate. Irony just running circles around the Fusion right now as Burner will go in for the cleanup. Final fight territory for the Fusion, and they're going to have to lead. They're going to have to have their charge led by Fury with this rampage.
It's incredible the way that Spark has dominated on this point. They got to touch the point eventually to push this into overtime right here. But the moment that Spark turned this point into their favor, currently the Fusion have not been able to win it back just yet. Zest falls incredibly
Zest is going to
low
go down. Zest needs help.
He got to the help that he needs. Overtime taking away, but they got to touch the points. They don't get there. What? Oh. And everybody from the Fusion were right there. They just needed a touch. Zest had taken a lot of damage, so he was afraid to go in, but he did get sustained right before the point was done.
Ready for battle.
Got sustained, but I don't think fast enough to give him the confidence to step forward, because you got to think about it, Vicky. If Zest steps onto the point and just triggers overtime but dies immediately, it's still a 4v5, and the chances of the Fusion actually converting it at that point are so slim. they were put in a very difficult position. They did not have someone trade out the spot to trigger the overtime effectively. There's a lot of attention being played over to Fixer, I believe. They went down as well just at the end. So it's not as if the Lucio could come flying in over the top to step in. And I don't think Fury was in position either. Just caught with their pants down a little bit here. And here's this flavor variation we were talking about earlier, that we could see some Pharos coming into the mix. Alpha U's going to go in there. I don't know if we'll see MN3 or Zest go over to the Echo, which is the obvious counter for the Pharaoh right now. They might try and do it without.
Wondering here, because it's going to be MN3 and up to MN3 to really deny a lot of that space from Alpha E, as Alpha E falls low, but so does MN3, and that's what we're talking about. That's going to be the big, but Zest, it's fine. You currently saw Alpha E fall low enough for Zest to finish that off, and now the rest of the Fusion have a number advantage. They're going to be able to take control over the point first.
They lost their big gun in the back line by having the Sojourn drop so early into the fight, but the Fusion still able to make it work. Zest able to land those headshots, and the rest of the front line seems to be having a whale of a time right now and just clear through the rest of the Spark, winning out the fight, getting the first cap. We've seen the Fusion do this before. We need to see them ramp up the percentage and get this to 100. Otherwise, they're at risk of already losing one of their 2 potential map losses. So if they lose their 1 match, that's their 1 lifeline gone. Vicky, they are 1 step closer to not making it to the tournament.
That is so true. There's a lot on the line here to kind of feel out how Fusion could be comfortable and how else they're going to play the rest of the series. Alpha E going to be able to get onto the high ground right here, flying over that window, gets shut down by MN3 currently now. Great start for this fight from the Fusion, and that's the risk that you bring when you're far fighting in close quarters, especially against a player like MN3. Just make his job a lot easier.
Let's go fight on the bridge instead, but I don't see this position being sustainable. Spark hold themselves up in the white room, but it's just a murder box waiting to happen. Fusion getting that extra charge from the kills, delaying them even further because you've got the staggered deaths between Alpha E and the rest of the team. Alpha E now comes back on the Genji reserve. Some of the ultimate charge, it was not a complete loss, but they are trailing hugely behind Zest when it comes to these Dragon Blades. And look at the Spark. The supports don't have their ultimates online. Zest could use the Blade on tempo, close out a fight, and put us in final fight territory this early on into the stage.
See 65% and climbing right now. See Fixa and God with those ultimates, like you were mentioning before. MN3 playing a lot more passively, wants to try to get that overclock with those charge shots. As Zest is going to dive in with the Blade. Nice opening from Fury, too, to be able to get that Carnage pick off. Already does shut him down, and you see the shout coming in. But the rest of the Fusion still have the number advantage, and they're going to be able to clean up the Spark. That's without the Spark, though. Not using up that rally, they'll still have their own ultimates to try to contest for this last fight territory.
Yeah, this is so rough for the Spark, Vicky. Look at the ultimates they're going to have to go up against. They've got the Rampage. There's always these tight corridors to enter. That's why they're going across the bridge right now. Going to use Shy's overclock, maybe open up some sightlines. They put Fury on the back burner. Rampage only able to find burner as they trade out players using both of the overclocks. MN3 doesn't have the right angle here. Will get the shot onto Burnar as he's booped around. Turns the attention around to the front line as Fixer takes out Shy. Uncontested Sojourn battles right now. Needs to build up the charge. Deflect comes out for Alpha E, but it's not enough. And there's the Fusion clapping back 100% to 0 against the Spark, taking us over to Night Market to seal the deal.
What a dominating last fight right there, too. Despite losing out on Fury, the survivability between AimGod and Fixer was beautiful at the very end right there. Trade for trade here in terms of rounds trade, and it's looking like a fantastic start already to our first map in the series.
Yeah, Fury did go down incredibly low. I believe they only were able to find the connection with the Rampage on Burner. Anti-heal on the tank. Pretty good, to be honest, if you can remove that presence, the ability, the sticking power on the point in particular when it comes down to these clutch moments. Costing them their lives, not ideal, but at least they found the connection before doing so. I think the big problem for the Spark going into that fight was purely the ultimate difference. Yes, the overclocks came in, they found some successful picks, but it was a bit late for them to get the beat and the rally online in that fight if you're the Spark, because you're already dealing with such a health deficit just from the support ultimates from AimGod and Fixer.
Let's waste no time now as the Fusion already make their appearance onto the point. You see Alpha E already in that front end of the choke point here. Try to contest Zest, who's right behind him. Nice little split as Alpha E falls incredibly low. He's trying to get away in time. Disruptor shot also controlling a good amount of space. It's a skirmish in the front lines here when it comes to that straight neutral that we were talking about in terms of this matchup.
Yeah, but position's definitely in favor, I feel like, of the Fusion here. 2 tight corridors to walk through, just turning up into the damage. Nice cut through there from Zest. Shouts are coming in to repair the rest of the team. MN3's got a lot of charge, looking for where he's going to nail this railgun. Someone needs to poke.
The shout into the dash to help us not only the sustainability, nice little attempt right there with the shot here, but as well as giving that support over to Zest now as Irony gets taken down by Fury, going a little bit too far. Now Zest is going to be able to clean up the back line here from the Spark. They do have the number advantage despite Bernard getting MN3, but he's going to be able to come back in, and the rest of the Fusion are still going to plant their feet on this point.
So clean from Zest there, able to quickly find those targets in the middle of the fight, jumping onto the back line, taking out Irony, I believe, then turning his attention straight over to the front line to help the kill on Burner. Immediately heads up, where's the next opponent? Jumps through the window, goes outside, and then he's just left with Super Rich to do a quick clean combo on with the assistance of his team. Zest seems to be being fed amazing amounts of information, or has their head like an owl in a 360 swivel just to find these targets immediately, always finding something to do.
Getting set up now. Hoot Hoot, though, they're ready now, Trin. You can see Alpha Yi finding Aim God now. That means that the rally won't be online for this fight, but they trade that for Irony. Brigitte for Brigitte, but now Zest, this is the green light for him to try to dive in. He doesn't have that survivability, though, unfortunately, as he can't get to the health pack. He gets shut down. Bernard's going to be the one to find him with some help here. Alpha Yi is also going to have the Blade as a spark. Now, this is their opportunity to turn their point here in their favor. Fury's incredibly low, and it's just a clean-up opportunity for the spark.
Nice flip. 69%, nice, as they can't climbing. 4% climbing on the side of the Spark. There's options here for the Fusion to be able to get a retake. Instead, you're hoping that the Spark play a little bit more bunch. They can get maximum value from Fury's Rampage, which has been quite muted in this map so far. We've not seen the big multi-mans we're expecting to see from a Junker Queen to come out onto this map. There's the disruptive shot, which should slow the speed, the rotation. There's the beat coming out from Alpha Yi, the Blade and beat combo from the Spark. They cut them down. Fury drops before they even have the opportunity to use their ultimate, but this is good for the Fusion. You've claimed 2 of the pivotal ultimates of the next fight. You're going to have some of your own to take a more expensive side, or expensive conflict from both sides. This is good. They're going to be able to trade up here for the Fusion.
Yeah, rather expensive right there to try to call out Fix and Aim God in that side room. And like you mentioned already, the ult economy in favor for the Fusion now as they find the opportunity to move away. They know that they don't have to worry about Alpha Yi's Blade. Instead, they're going to be able to barrier through Bernard and that Rampage. It's a matter of holding on to it here. Shy's going to be able to pop the overclock. Here comes the rally, though, between Irony. Aim God being more conservative at the very end as Alpha Yi trades that with Bernard.
But Burner went down before they were able to use Rampage. How are Spark staying competitive in this fight when they had such an ultimate deficit and they weren't able to get their Rampage out onto the field? Fusion finally able to stabilize and turn back the aggression. They just have to take out the support line now that Alpha Yi's gone. This is their flip, but Spark, I don't think they had any right living as long as they did in that conflict.
Oh, Zest going pretty far out after he managed to get some of those damages real quick on Super Rich, but Irony right there to help support him as MN3 is back in the fray. Back here with the overclock, trying to have that opportunity. Look at these beamage, though. He's got to look for his back. As you can see, the rest of the Spark actually trying to circle him, but Bernard out of position when you had Super Rich over on the other side.
90%. Got 90% in climbing right now. Spark need to run out the spawns, not get camped. Someone's going to have to touch and trigger overtime. We're expecting Super Rich or maybe Alpha Yi to get to the point. Zest watching the arm. He has the Blade. He can just take them out. They come in. Alpha Yi's so low. Fury finds him with the Jagged Blades. 4v5. Zest turns his attention to the front. The Fusion have absolutely decimated the Spark here in that final conflict. It was always going to be a challenge to make it count in the final 10%. The Fusion take map number 1. And they begin climbing up that map deficit they need to reach the tournament.
It's happening! They're ready one step closer to finding themselves in the Summer Showdown tournament. Absolutely huge first map win here, going in favor for the Fusion. But again, this is the Fusion here that we're talking about. There's still 2 more maps that could go underway. At minimum, we're going to see where we're going to be going to at the other side of this break. Welcome back, everyone. Currently, the Fusion are up in the map series. Currently taking game number 1, and we got map number 2 underway, going on to Paraíso.
Yes, I'll let you pronounce that one. I always butcher the pronunciation. I don't want to insult any more people. Philadelphia Fusion up with 1-0. They have one of the 3 maps they need to win this series, but we're not paying attention to their scoreline. We're paying attention to the scoreline of the Spark. Remember, if they get more than 1 map win in this series, it's like the Fusion lose anyway. So I'm going to outline the worst possible reality for the Fusion fans because I know you're a bunch of masochists anyway because you support the Fusion. Philadelphia Fusion, 2 map wins. Let's say they win this map. They're up 2-0. That's the scoreline they need. It's map differential they need. They didn't get taken to map 5, which means that they don't actually have the map differential they need. And then they win the series anyway. So it's like a bittersweet victory. You still lose. I think that's the most Fusion thing that could possibly happen in this series. But I am remaining optimistic this series, Vicky. I am riding the Fusion high from yesterday. Paraíso is our next destination. I think I pronounced that right for the first time. Fantastic.
You sounded fantastic.
Oh, thank you. And they're going to be going on the offense first. Now, remember yesterday when we had our series, I believe it was Valiant, the Valiant series yesterday, some teams I'm not going to say it. They skipped this forward hold, should we say. It's on the bridge right outside the spawn room. Very oppressive if done right. However, teams are supposed to be retreating back to the point A where they can actually have their full-on defense. And look at that. Philly are 3-2 against Hwangzhou Spark this season. They're going to be looking to make that a 4 versus 2, I can assure you today. But Hwangzhou Spark still in a position to tie out the map record for this season. And then, I don't know what happens. Is it a Countdown Cup clash, maybe, perhaps, to settle the score?
That'd be crazy. And just to touch up on what you just mentioned between the series that we saw between the Valiant, that was the map where the Valiant quite literally hugged the Hunters into their spawn in that first spawn. Once the Hunters got that first point going, it can be really difficult to get out of that first spawn hold. We've seen it a lot actually throughout this stage, so that's something to keep in mind of as we get started here on Paraíso. And Fusion starting off on the attack means that they have to get past that initial bridge that a lot of these teams hold the high ground for, as MN3 doesn't get the cheeky pick that we saw yesterday with the Widow.
It's always worth a shot. It's always worth a shot. Ash! MN3 Ash! Fusion fanboys rejoice! This is what you've been wanting. Let's see how it does.
Oh, let's go. I'm excited to see how this goes here. Especially on a map like Paraíso, we saw something very similar just yesterday, again, in the Hunters and Valiants. Set up as Shy now is going to already back away a little bit, giving some of that space here. You want to be able to hold that high ground. You don't want to really give that for free to the Fusion, but feeling that pressure, there is that back end corner that they can get sandwiched in, so they're just understanding that.
Yeah, giving him a little bit of space, maybe too much here. Shy will still hold the high ground, and he's got a rail shot online. Not going to be expending it just yet, holding for the next peak that happens. Bernard's playing up close and personal on this corner. They don't want to give up the territory. Fusion might need to find an alternative route of ingress here. But still play it nice and slow. But hang on a minute, Alfie's just gone in up and above on the Spark, takes out Engod. This is not looking good for the Fusion. It opens up a 4v5.
Start off with the Wario Cries here with the shout to try to move everybody up, but they trade that as Bernard gets taken down as Zest is on fire since the start of the series. He falls incredibly low here as Fury gets taken down. Now the number advantages do go in favor of the Spark, and remember what we also talked about in terms of the Echo, how important the duplicate is here, but specifically on Paraíso, you have the ability and the freedom to be able to gain that extra space with this pick and reposition extremely quick, very similar to the Sojourn with her dash.
MN3's up on the high ground at the moment, just trying to poke through those little doors and see if he can get some pop shots while the rest of the team gets into position. Zest and Fixer going a long way round on this one to try and get onto the backs. Irony, in the chat, feeding the information. Super Rich comes in to disrupt, sending Zest off the map. Has to use the dash to just get back into position. He's going to cut down the flanking route that the Fusion wanted to take. Doesn't mean it's going to be the last attempt. You can see Fixer and Zest attempting to go for it once more. Paying the attention over to Super Rich. Alfie thankfully there on the Echo to move forward and support Bernard, the rest of the team on this front corner. The rest of the teams regroup on the central point. And they're still being pushed away as that's another fight win for the Spark. This could be another full hold.
Oh, this is what we were talking about before here too. Shy popped off. Alfie cleans up everything as the Fusion get mollywopped in that team fight now. Currently looking at the ultimates, you still have Shy nearing that overclock. Alfie's about to get the duplicate. Note that he is going to look forward to that Jerker Queen pick onto copying Fury, but Fusion have a plethora of ultimates that they work with, as well as the Bob that's going to act as a 6th man for the Fusion.
A 6th man. You can't do it with 5, do it with 6. See if they can pull it off. There's the Dragon Blade available for Zest as well. Double support ult still online. This could be a very expensive
Oh,
fight
nice
for both
move.
teams. Blade comes out. Oh, Shy removes him in free.
Oh.
No Bobbert will be present today. They're going to have to do it without. Spark still in charge of the scene. Aim God went down before the rally could grace us. Spark ended up with a support advantage. They still have a couple to use in the next engagements. This is probably going to be the final fight of this offense, Vicky. They got 45 seconds remaining, 2 ults apiece on both sides. But it's the rally, I think, that might be the difference maker unless they're able to double Junker Queen Rampage.
Time dwindling away for the Fusion here. MN3 needs to focus Alpha E, who's had such a big impact for the Spark so far, and he's got the duplicate online here too, so if MN3 could get that big first pick, it could be fantastic. Again, last fight territory here for the Fusion as they're going to try to have that opportunity to get as much as they can with that bomb.
There's that rally used before the fight. Alfie's actually duplicated Fixer. There's double Lucio on the field right now, and they're just taking it to the Fusion! MN3! The Ash pick not having the impact they were looking for. They traded one apiece for now. They're fighting outside the spawn room. Fixer trying to duel, I believe, with Alpha E. No, it was Super Rich. They got the kill on. Someone needs to touch the point.
MN3 swapping over to the Tracer.
Yeah, just to get back in the point. This is the overtime push they're looking for. Regrouping having for the Spark. I think they're going to try and challenge the Fusion on this one.
That's why they actually disengage in that time. Here comes the Carnage, the Axe Swing at the same time here too. The Shout, though, is going to allow them to bust down Fury, though. Shy's going to be able to get that pick. Aim God's going to go down. Number advantage going in favor for the Spark as the overtime is dwindling away for the Fusion. They don't really have the advantage or the stand on this point. What a full hold here from the Spark. Alpha Yi showing that Echo needs to stay here in Paraíso and the impact that Echo has had so far on the history of this map.
Oh my god, Fury knocked on the wrong door. Opened the door, gets hit with the sticky mines, takes a bunch of damage from Bernard on the exit, and then he has to retreat around the corner. How mobile is Alpha Yi's Echo? Just dashes around the corner, sticks to him with the focusing beam. The rest of the team comes in and burns through the tank of the Philadelphia Fusion. It means that Fury's got nowhere to go. He's been removed from the fight. 5v4 on the recontest. You got MN3 on a suboptimal pick just to get back into the fight. Yeah, losing Fury there was too big. It was not something they could come back from. So Spark don't quite get the full hold, technically, because there's been over 33% accrued. Does mean we missed the draw, but it's a very low benchmark of success for the Spark. They could tie up the series, and then the Fusion lose their lifeline.
A lot on the line. Zest going over to the Echo. Going to be able to try to match that with Alpha E. Something important to talk about there is while MN3 was on the Ash temporarily, you didn't get that Bob online, or rather out on the field for that second to last team fight. That would have allowed you to either make the swap into the Sojourn if you feel that's better, or even building up another Bob for another fight. Especially if they were to have gotten that point, they could have controlled that next corner with that second Bob. But we're going to see what the Spark are going to come out with now. That Sojourn difference, though, between Shy and what we had gotten from the Fusion on the Ash was really detrimental because Shy got those initial picks that really helped Alpha Yi get into position to clean things up with the focusing beam.
We'll be able to just dash forward for now. Alpha Yi dashing around on that Genji. You just see the Fusion playing much further forward. We saw the Spark playing, just give them an extra opportunity to shut down the push, but they're only 43% to accrue. They have to die fast. Fury died way too quickly again. Thank God for Fixer. At least trying to balance the scales a little bit. But Alpha Yi's found Zest as well. It's not looking good as Spark will move on to the point. They can be capping right now and tying out the series. Bernard with the Carnage, locking MN3 away. Takes Super Rich out and stays alive a little bit longer. But is already climbing. 43% is not a lot to get. They're trying to stall it out, contest it as much as they can. Engel's going to have to throw the body on the fire as well. Fury comes back with the shout, reinvigorating the team. It's not looking good for them. So close to go. And Shy just takes out Fury. And that's it. The Spark set themselves up for success on their defense. They will now level out the series. It's a 1-1 scoreline. One more map to go for the Fusion, and they will not make it to the tournament stage.
Spark on that hold was beautiful. Shy, Alpha Yi, even Super Rich at that point there too, allowing the rest of the Spark to be able to get into the position and find a lot of those initial picks. I love watching Alpha Yi Genji, but I also love watching that Echo put in some of those plays. Didn't work out for the Fusion the same way that they were expecting, Zest being one of the first initial picks in the beginning of that fight trade.
Yeah, so now it's time for a reset. Philadelphia Fusion. Going to get some words from the coach as we head to the break. When we come back, we'll bring you map number 3.
Back, everyone. The Philadelphia Fusion and the Hangzhou Spark are currently tied in the match series 1-1 apiece. That makes things a little bit harder for the Fusion to officially qualify and take over the Hunter spot in the Summer Showdown tournament.
Yeah, they still only have one map lost to take. If they do that, then like you said, Vicky, they miss out on what's important to them, which is that position in the tournament stage. Hunters, they're probably sat here being the biggest Spark fans right now on the sidelines, as well as everyone else who just wants to see the Fusion fail. I personally don't want to see that. I think they've been riding quite a nice high from yesterday's performance. They should be able to carry forth into the map. Something that went wrong for them right at the end there. Very difficult position to hold against the Spark. Fury stepping forward a little bit too much. maybe overcommitted slightly, causing them to get caught out and dropping down to a 5v4 in the final contest for their offense. Defense, only having to deal with 43% wiggle room is kind of difficult, especially on point A, and then you lose your first fight, it's pretty much done. You're playing stagger tactics at that point, but so much time bank left in the tank. Really hard to burn through all of that with just stall tactics. Moving ahead to the future though, Vicky, let's take a look at our next map. It's going to be Dorado. And Fusion and Spark will be out here playing on the escort type map. I tell you, it's going to be Spark on the offense first. So hopefully Fusion can set themselves up for success the same way the Spark did in Paraíso.
We're gonna have to see. I mean, coming out of the gates, we did see the MN3 Ashe didn't perform to the level that we were expecting there. Unfortunately, got picked off early in those initial team fights. Didn't make the swap, but also didn't have the ability to send out the Bob in a timely manner that they really needed to at the very end right there, second to last team fight when they were on the ones on the attack. It's hard here now as the Spark are going to be able to, again, even out the series here, and the Fusion are going to be the ones to start things off here on Dorado on the defense.
MN3 going for the Ashe once more, sticking with that flavor of damage dealer. Hopefully that'll make the Fusion fans happy again. Playing quite slow, quite quiet for now, just hiding up behind the tunnel. There's a couple of seconds left. I imagine MN3 is going to go for a cheeky dynamite, and maybe a jagged knife pull, potentially from Fury, but I don't think anything substantial is going to happen. Surprised they're not putting Zest up on red and just harassing already. I typically see Genji's lingering around in the front bit. Oh, he's on yellow instead. No shot coming in for Alfie. He'll change over to the Genji to try and go and contest Zest. And we'll see how the ultimate generation happens with the harassment that usually takes place on these first couple of rooftops.
Yeah, holding on to this high ground here, they're going to be able to see Super Ridge playing right underneath them. Zest is not going to be able to isolate him. As you can see, he is being protected by Alpha. He falls pretty low, though, over by the backside. Zest having the high ground, though, is going to be able to harass Bernard from above. Nobody going to check him just yet.
To hide.
Yeah, and you can currently see Alpha also falling incredibly low, though.
They're hunting down the Lucio. They've seen Fixer go over their head and they're like, right, chase him. Get him. He should be able to escape, though. Got back to the rest of the team. Now they're going to rotate up the stairs, try and take some high ground away from the Fusion. Left the payload in the street. I think Fusion might just go and secure the objective instead. Yep, you see Fury there just forcing it to have a little bit of a rollback as there's a team of the Sparks quite split at the moment. Alfie back up on yellow. Going to harass Fury instead. It's his time to feel the pain. They kind of swap sides at this rate here.
Yeah, MN3 actually rotating behind them instead. He was able to clean up 2 picks off of the Spark from M3's hands here, as now they're going to be able to take right back into this position. So that's going to be able to meet up with them soon here, but the rest of the Spark are now going to have not only that spawn advantage, but they are going to be able to fully try to send it onto the Fusion. Fusion understand that. Nice disengage to reposition onto the high ground.
We'll break this initial hold, get it into market. Dodging the disruptor shot. So that's just on the front line right now, still trying to harass towards that first blade. MN3 has managed to pull ahead here. Bob is actually going to be online surprisingly quickly at this rate. I can imagine that's a combination of dynamite and hitting those long-range shots. Being very cheeky with pixel gaps to shoot through here as well.
He had a great performance already, allowing himself and the rest of the Fusion to get those initial shots down. Falling super low here, though, as he's going to be able to get restabilized. You see Irony's got the rally. Super Rich with the sound barrier. Going to be a little bit ahead of Fixa, who's going to be able to get that sound barrier online in this next fight. Good amount of ultimates here coming online for the Spark soon. You're going to see Fusion could match that, but they don't have that rampage that Bernard's about to get as Irony pops the rally.
There's the rally. Yeah, going to charge forward with that. Irony leading the charge. England still sitting on theirs. You've got Beat as well to use here if they need it. Super Reach going to pop theirs to deal with Zest's blade. Alfie's a little bit behind, so we look towards Shy's overclock. Zest just dealing damage, but no kills confirmed for the time being as they're locked in the corner. Aim God still has their rally available, but there's no support ultimates on the side of the Spark. Kind of muted for the time being. Have to be in response to what comes next, but Shy's been taken out by MN3. Doesn't need time to charge up the railgun, could just hit the long-range shots to begin with. Turns the attention to Alpha Yi, and oh no, it's all gone a little bit wrong for the Spark. They are now down to the sub 1 minute time bank. They are now against the clock, and look at Fusion setting themselves up for success, Vicky.
Look, let's ignore Paraíso. It was difficult angles when you have to come out of the attack on the Ashe and you have to find the opportunity to nail down Alpha Yi while he's on that Echo. Now this time around it's Dorado. He feels like he's in home turf territory here as he's going to be able to back away and find so much impact on this Ashe so far. Already almost getting another Bob, passing that 50% mark and climbing with a Dynamite.
Able to just accrue that quickly. Rampage, Dragon Blade. These are the tools that Spark needs to use successfully. They're taking out Fixer. This is a great start for them. Rally's there.
Rampage.
Fury's anti-healed as well. This is big for them, but Zest is doing all the work. He doesn't need the blade to have the impact that Alpha Yi has. Burner, Irony, Shy, they've all been deleted, Vicky. Fusion have the payload. Zest is trying to linger around and make sure that no one gets the high ground, no one sneaks into touch. I don't know if the Spark can do it. Super Rich coming in hot to try and trigger overtime. He gets it in time to let reinforcements come in. Alpha Yi still coming back from the spawn room for time. He's got quite mobile kit in him. Should be able to go in. Bomb on the corner, push back, but it's still enough to take out Super Rich. A 10-player kill streak for MN3 is suddenly ended by Shy as Zest pulls out the blade, cuts through the entirety of the Spark. And that's going to be the Fusion setting themselves up for an easy map win here to take them to series points.
Trid, that was beautiful from Fury. That Rampage is what allowed Zest to pop off without needing the blade. He was at, what, 73% after dashing into all three members that got caught by the Rampage from the Spark. Fury allowing Zest to pop off at the very end right there while also conserving those ults was super important. Take a look right here as we get to look at the replay right now. Those three, Shy, Bernard, and Irony getting caught off from Fury's Rampage is what allowed Zest to clean things up in that side room, and they had the ult advantage in that final fight there too.
Okay, Spark. What are you going to do now? You're going to have the Fuller hold? You're going to have a Herculean effort to shut down the Fusion? They're running out with the same comp they always have done. I think MN3 is actually going to stay on this Ashe now. They started to find their footing. So how fast they accrued the ultimates. I also think that in that last round, Vicky, Zest had 2 blades to Alpha Yi's 1. So there was huge gap there when it came out. Lapped him with the blade, even though it was a little bit ceremonial at the end there because the fight had already been won. But it's still very much a symptom of the way this is going for Zest and Alpha Yi.
Really helps with MN3 getting a lot of those crucial initial picks now, reversing the situation from what we had seen on map number 2. Now, MN3 still sticking to his guns, still sticking to this Ashe, it looks like here. As you could already see the Spark getting set up onto that high ground here. Zest is already going to try to take control over that red rooftop.
Yeah, it's in the Goon squad up there, Fixer and Zest to make sure they have high ground. Ping's coming in. They're spotting out where Shy is at the moment. Just really paying attention to where the Sojourn's hiding. MN3 up on the high ground. Has the cover to play behind on this rooftop. Long sightlines to abuse as well. Someone may have to come up there and challenge him. If Shy can't hit the railgun shot and force him away, might have to send Super Rich over there. They're busy right now taking damage of their own as Zest will rotate through red back on to the payload.
Oh, MN3 finds Alpha Yi.
Where did MN3 hit that shot from? Oh my god, he pulled forward, Vicky, and was able to just get the angle on red. And then look at how the Sparks scatter backwards. They don't want to lose any more members. And we are so close to seeing Fusion cap this point already.
That was a great aggressive approach right there, too, from MN3 after he actually forced Super Rich to fall low. He knew he had the time as Shy. He's going to be able to trade that, though. He's going to be able to find MN3. Now, the number advantage go in favor for the Spark, as the Spark are going to be able to continue on this defense. Zest falls incredibly low here. Fury's still sticking alive for right now before getting taken down by Alpha Yi. It's the finisher with the dash, and now it's going to be a reset here for the Fusion.
So close to being a Fusion cap there, but Shy comes true with the railgun. Buying some time for Alpha Yi to come back into the fold. Not a strong position for the Spark to be in, though. There's still 2 minutes 30 and not a lot of meters between them losing this map. Zest not quite lapping Alpha Yi as we saw in the previous round, staying fairly consistent for the time being. And MN3 also trailing in comparison to last round as well. Without those powerful tools, they're a little bit muted for the time being, but they're still able to progress through slowly.
See the disruptor shot coming in too as the engagement is going to start up. Bernard falls a little low, but so does Fury. Here comes the rally. Is it enough to help out Fury? It is. He's going to be restabilizing. Bernard's not going to be able to. Here comes MN3 again, getting that initial pick. Make it 2 onto Super Rich. No sustainability, no blade. And the Fusion win map number 3 on Dorado.
They tie it back up. They get themselves into that match point position. 2-1. Vicky. They got one more map to go. If they lose that map, then their playoffs, our hopes are all over. However, if they win the series, that's a +2 map differential, my friend. And they will overtake the Hunters and get themselves to the Summer Showdown. So much stakes on the line here for the Philadelphia Fusion and for the Hunters next map, so be sure to join us after the break.
Welcome back, everyone. The Fusion currently sit at match point versus the Spark, but I'm a little scared right now, Trid, because the next map is going to be Coliseum, push map, which, looking at the track record, the Fusion have not had any success, I believe, in this stage on any of the push maps that they've played so far, with the latest news being the Coliseum map that we had seen just yesterday in their series versus the Dynasty.
Now imagine if they did manage to break that curse in the match where it matters the most for them to do so. like I said, if it goes to Game 5, they may as well just lose the series anyway at this point because they can't get what they're looking for out of this, which is qualification to the Summer Showdown. So yeah, Coliseum, basically you got to treat this as a final destination for the Fusion. It's their last chance to secure a spot in our Summer Showdown tournament. Hunters fans, they are praying that Fusion are being consistently bad at push. So will the Spark, actually. They're probably hoping to get to a map 5, potentially even win this one out. But my worst case scenario, Vicky, is still on the table here, where map 5 win for Fusion, so they don't really win. It'd be the most Fusion thing ever.
I would cry. I'll cry. I knocked on my desk.
Would you cry? Would you shed a tear on behalf of the Fusion fans?
Well, I would, because, man, can you imagine just the roller coaster of emotions? Like, are you feeling numb at this point? Like, I would be feeling pain, eternal pain, especially sweating pretty hard, looking at the fact that we are going on to this next map. But, you know, giving some of credit where it's due, gotta highlight Fury in that last map looked really good right there. MM3, of course, doing the MM3 thing on the Ashe, has been performing amazingly. Zest popping off too. It's very possible. Gotta bring some of that momentum in from yesterday into today for all the right reasons. You mentioned, you know, even if you go to a map 5, wrap it up, but at least your Trid, if that does happen to be the case, I'm looking at the brighter side of things, just looking at all the situations that could play out. They could play for points in the overall standing, so that's also incredibly important for them, because I believe they're sitting in 4th, so they want to maintain that spot, especially looking at the Hunters. If the Hunters are the ones that are going to qualify for the Summer Showdown tournament, where they're going to be able to get double the points.
See them load up into the push map then. Vicky, Zed not gone well for the Fusion so far. See if they can turn it around where it really counts. Should see a lot of stagnation around the central point, unless there's some picks coming in from MN3 and Shy. Imagine if they can land a railgun shot, we might be able to see a more accelerated push. But I don't see either of these teams completing the map. It's going to be about who gets that progress once we start looking at the 90 meters, 100 meters, and start gapping their opponents. That's when you need to be concerned and start thinking about how the map is already over at some points. But, you know, we had teams surprise us yesterday with huge overtime comebacks. It could definitely happen today.
Let's see, the standoff always happens here on this map, right next to that bot by these walls. See Shy already trying to take an off-angle position. Gonna be able to slide away with the power slide, back into safety, into the hands of Irony and Super Rich. So we try to actually find that standoff to find that first initial pick, and that's gonna be the team that's gonna dive in first.
Shy, not contested, takes out Fix, so you didn't turn your head fast enough there, my friend. And Shy is going to remove it. That's the early pick we were looking for. Should be able to make some progress on this bot. They've got a 5v4. They've really got to capitalize now, because reinforcements can come in fast when it's a Lucio coming back from the spawn room.
Oh, Fury try to wait on that push bot for as long as they can, but you see the way that Alpha is playing to not only try to split a Fury, but to prevent some of that initial healing from Aim God. Nice little trade though, as Irony's going to go down too, so that's a 1-man down here for the Spark, and playing at that number disadvantage is going to allow the Fusion to at least try to turn this bot before it gets much progress.
They're pushing ahead. Take them out.
Still made a tiny bit of progress. Nothing insurmountable here for Fusion. Zest is low, but will still dive forward into cover. It's a dangerous position to be able to get a few packs coming in from Irony to top him up. From Aim God, sorry, to top him up.
Let's stick with it.
Railgun online for MN3. Don't poke your head. You could lose it. Takes the shot. Last one into Burner, I believe. It's not a headshot, so will not have substantial damage. And the Spark are able to regroup, get control of the bot, and push it back.
Back and forth, so much space being bought in by the Spark here. You see Alpha Yee
Nice
managing
deflect.
to get Aim God. Yes, that was beautiful right there. And then finishes off MM3 while he's out of here too. Look at this. He's going to have the blade for the next fight. Despite the Spark, or rather the Fusion getting 2 of those picks, it's fine. Number of edges still in favor for the Spark here.
Couple of ultimates on the board as well for the Spark. They can make real progress here. They will obviously still fall shy of the checkpoint. But they move closer and closer. They just need some consecutive fight wins, and they're set up to do so based on the state of the game currently.
Love the decision to disengage right there after seeing that Fusion had already taken control over the high ground, now forcing the Fusion to try to push in first. Despite some of that extra progress that the Spark were able to get from the bot, not too far up ahead obviously here, but the nice way that Spark are trying to disengage, as Shy's going to be able to unleash the overclock. Here comes the blade now from Zest. He doesn't get the sustainability though! What a huge shutdown by Shy, and he finds Aim God while he's having 2.
Oh, Shy!
Oh, He's still going. The rest of the Spark, they clean up the Fusion. And what a mistake from the Fusion, where they lose it on the Blade, they lose it on the sound barrier. And Alpha Yi, yes, he used his Blade too, but look at this Irony and Aim God. They're both about to have their rallies. The Rampage are online. And MN3 is about to get the overclock, but Shy, what an initial fight here for them.
Big pop off with the overclock. Successful railgun shots all over the spot. MN3's time to clap back. I think it's a little bit harder to do so in this corridor. Lots of terrain to hide behind. As soon as they pop the overclock, you just give them space and respect it. Really mitigate that ultimate with time.
This ends.
Disrupt shots there. MN3's found Shy. Pops the overclock immediately afterwards. Alpha Yi dashing for safety, but they're all exposed to the damage. MN3 claps back. And this is the Fusion trying to put some meterage on the board.
The back and forth, it's a ping pong match right now. MN3 and Shy getting those important picks. Now MN3 is going to have a good amount of the distance, because now you can see Fusion moving all the way up. They're trying to deny that space from the Spark. They're trying to have that high ground advantage. Fixa does not want to get called out there out of position. He's going to be able to back away in time. Bernard having that Rampage, and Irony still having that rally here. It's going to look good as you want Super Rich to try to get that sound barrier. Here comes the Rampage, though, landing up to Super Rich, and Alpha Yi, MN3 fighting Super Rich.
Oh, I feel like I'm at the Gnome at the moment. The noises I'm making, seeing MN3 and Shy hit these shots on the railgun. For so far away. They're about to hit the point of overtaking the meterage that the Spark have. Fusion have wrestled back control of Colosseo with roughly the halfway mark of the time bank.
So scary here. See Zest already trying to go for a flanking opportunity. Look at Fixa right there, allowing him to get a little bit aggressive. Bernard's got that Rampage still, but Zest with that Blade soon. Could be tricky here. It's going to be up to Super Rich to deal with that. Fixa going down first is going to be absolutely huge here. Yeah, going to be able to find that. Aim God's going to go down too. Nice Rampage coming in from Bernard. Zest getting taken down, and it's the rest of the Fusion that are going to get cleaned up. The Spark with that reversal. I love the way that they were able to counter position themselves up on the high ground. Alpha E also splitting some of that attention away to enable Bernard.
Yeah, the jewels on Bernard right now to do that at 70 HP, like exposing themselves massively to damage and even going down. Able to land the Rampage though. Don't lose their life in the end. They're able to dip behind terrain, get support of their team. Nice little clash on the robot. Remember, there's still a distance to go before the Spark are able to increase their score on this map. Now the contest is there. If they win this fight though, they will be able to overtake the Fusion once more. Shy, you see what they can do with the overclock before. Not rewarded the same sightlines, the same access to the Fusion lineup to be able to deal the damage they dealt before. Fury popped down low, but will get setting up. Aim God under the cosh. The beat comes in too late from Fixa to save him. Zest pulls out the blade, cuts through Alpha Yi. Gonna stagger it out, but Shy comes true! Ringing the metal chassis of Zest's head.
Doesn't even need the overclock right there. Despite that tricky position there from Shy, gonna be able to shut down Zest. Knar's gonna be able to back away in time. Look how close they are to Fusion's spawn point here too, while still getting progress on this bot. They need to, because this is allowing the Fusion to be on the high ground on the bridge. Now Irony pops up with the rally. Aim God's about to get the rally themselves. Won't be able to help them out. No sustainability there as Bernard shuts him down.
Yeah, there's no checkpoint accrued as well. Fusion's still going to have the advantage at this point. MN3 using the overclock to find 2. And the bot is going to take a long march back into the Sparks territory. 3 minutes 33 remaining. And it's so close still. This can still go either way. Vicky, they have not reached an insurmountable point, but the odds are definitely in the Fusion's favor right now.
Back and forth we go. Look how close too. 57 for Spark, 60 here for the Fusion. Getting close to actually try to trail that now. See the off angles that we were seeing before when we were all on that standoff position. Aim God's got that rally. The Fury's going to have the Rampage before Bernard. This could be big here. MN3's going to back away in time. Nice big Rampage. Lands onto 3. Can they get the pick though onto Irony, who falls pretty low here? Alfie manages to survive, but not for long before Fury says, come right back here. You're not going to go anywhere. Gonna sit down on this little leg. Yeah, and now they're gonna be able to get that checkpoint. That's gonna be huge here for the Fusion. Again, they are sitting at match series, match point right now.
66 for the meters to 57, 10 meters in it. They're going to get even more progress now. Those forward spawns have been unlocked by virtue of getting the checkpoint. Keeps the fights even for longer. And now Zest is charging up towards that next blade, a showstopper if you will. You're in control of the bot. I'm going to send it back now. Long walk before the Spark can get any progress, so it can be stopped before they can accrue points. In fact, Fusion can probably take 2 fights before Spark can get points. So they have that extra level of defense right now.
More ults online here for the Fusion. Zest is about to get the Blade. Shy, though, has popped off with the overclock. Can Shy do it again? Shutdown fix, so it would be real huge here. Now Shy's going to be able to unleash it. He gets Fury! That's big. The Sound Barrier does get called in from Fixa. Is the survivability enough here? As you can see, Bernard now taking control, taking care of Aim God. No rally here, and it's going to have to be a reset for the Fusion. They can afford this here, Trid. You have 1 minute and 30 seconds on the clock right now. You're going to come out of that spawn point to stop that bot from getting any sort of progress.
You could also use a faster reset and get back here. You're going to be able to contest once more before they reach the checkpoint and before they reach a progress marker. That's the bonus, the safety that the Fusion have built for themselves earlier in the map. They lose this next fight, though, to go the way of Spark. Alfie goes to the backline with the Blade, turns his attention to Aim God. Fury seems to be the next target. Damage, but no kills coming through. Zest, unsuccessful in their efforts as Irony shuts them down. Spark have an advantage at the time being. Super Rich found Fixer as well. What's going on? Spark, they're about to hit that checkpoint, Vicky. And they do that, and they win another fight. They can take the map away from the Fusion and dash their Summer Showdown hopes.
Despite not getting a pick with that Blade there from Alpha Yi, you saw still that Irony was able to take care of Zest, and that was the space being bought in from Alpha Yi. As the tick still continues on, you got less than 35 seconds now on the clock here, Trid.
They have to contest. They can't give up this.
They gotta get off the high ground.
Fury's gonna have to step forward. Straight into a railgun from Shy. Here's the rally. MN3's low. He gets tagged but not taken down. Fury needs some assistance. So close to getting the Rampage online. That could be a game breaker in this one. They're at 99%. Use it on cooldown. Finds free. MN3 opens up with the railgun. Disrupt the shot.
This is it.
And the dot will claim Alpha Yi. The Fusion have stopped the Spark on the cusp of losing out in this map, losing out on the Summer Showdown. One fight to seal the deal, and it was Fury to stay alive and deliver the finishing blow. The Philadelphia Fusion get their hopes up. They're overlapping the Hunters, and they will secure themselves a spot in the Summer Showdown.
Top 4 locked in here from the APAC region in the Summer Showdown. Officially, the Dragons, the Dynasty, the Charge, and say hello to your 4th place spot, the Philadelphia Fusion, winning the series currently 3-1. Look at them pop off in the camps. Look at the hugs. The Spark upset currently, but they were not in contention for even making it, even after this series, into the Summer Showdown tournament. Unfortunate for them, they wanted to be able to get as many points as they wanted for the overall standings, for the same reason we were talking about the Fusion going into map 5. But now, you see the Fusion, they're so happy right now making it into the Summer Showdown tournament, and I'm happy to see it too here, Trid.
Great progress from them to be able to secure that position. But there's one man we've got to congratulate a little bit more, Vicky. It's our player of the match. One zesty boy coming in, especially in the earlier stages of the series, having the impact on the Genji, thriving in this meta, in their rookie season. Just unbelievable play from them, and one of the key reasons that Fusion were able to come out with the victory today.
Zest insane here. Has been a mainstay for the Fusion roster in terms of the insane plays that he's been able to make, as well as working really well with MN3. Now, I also have to give props where it's due, but Fury was going crazy when it comes to making the impact on the Rampage at the very end for these last fights. The fights that mean everything here. That 3-man Rampage, both on Coliseum as well as Dorado, meant a lot here as we take a look at Zest and his stats. In this series alone, where it went to map number 4, he was able to secure 72 elims, 28 final blows, which, by the way, that's 28 more final blows to his record after we congratulated Zest just yesterday on being the only player in the entire league from hitting 1,000 kills in this region. So it's going to be really nice here for Zest to be able to add that to his record.
Wonderful for them, just constantly padding the stats here against the Hangzhou Spark. But wow, what a performance from Philadelphia Fusion. The fans have been rewarded for their faith right now. They now turn their attention over to the tournament, which will also be taking place later next week, I believe. But Vicky, the shenanigans aren't over yet. We're going to take a quick look at the highlights from that series before we go any further. But we're going to go for a break down the series, and then you can go grab some popcorn for what we would consider the main event.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Upper Deck, the official trading card of the Overwatch League. And by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, everyone. The final match here in the final week of the Summer Showdown qualifiers is underway currently. We got the Shanghai Dragons versus the Seoul Dynasty.
Yeah, it's coming up next. We'll have that massive clash of titans, but first we need to take a look at some of the highlights from the Philadelphia Fusion and the Hwangzhou Spark in this series. And oh, it looked a bit shaky, especially when we take a look at Para Iso, how dominant that was for the Spark.
Yeah.
I started to get those Fusion fan jitters that maybe arise when they're on the verge of a choke, but they buck the trend.
Map 11.
Map 11.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, someone pointed this out actually. Map 11. There was a lot of draws in this series, and we're just skipping to map 11 and 12, 13. No, unfortunate little technical error, but of course, this was map number 1, Lijiang Tower. Fusion, I think, very much remain in control of this map, even down to the wire. Like I said, Para Iso made me a little bit scared for them. This was definitely a Spark favored map. When you look at the outcome of the series, Alpha E's Echo, absolutely dominant performance from them on Para Iso.
It was beautiful here, and we saw the impact that Alpha E had on this Echo. It was questionable here too, because this is where we saw the Ashe initially, and here on Dorado, this is where M3 and Zest really went off. But I need to highlight Fury's impact from the Fusion in this series was literally insane. Honestly, basically on that border of being robbed here from Zest. So everybody on the Fusion played really well, but the way that Fury played with those rampages, especially at the very end, those clutches were beautiful. Alpha E's Blade, though, around the end of these last two maps were a bit questionable once the ball started rolling in favor for the Fusion trick.
Yeah, it was really rough here. This definitely was a winnable map for the Spark. Shy really took this personally this series, I feel, especially at the end here on the Sojourn. Final fight, though, when we saw it come down to it, Vicky, when it was just on the cusp of claiming victory over the Fusion. Like I said, Fury staying alive was the difference maker. Look at this, 40, like, see how low the health went, about 40 HP, stays alive long enough to get the Rampage online. Huge anti-heal applied. The rest of his team can just clean up. Fury goes down there. I think we're looking at a different story. I think we're still casting map number 5.
It's crazy because I want to see much more Fury and the impact Fury's had on this team going away from the Joker Queen meta. As we do note, there will be some changes before we go into that next stage. So we are going to be seeing some players shift around, but Fury's been a great mainstay here for the Fusion. Now, that concludes that series. The Philadelphia Fusion, once again, they make their way into the Summer Showdown tournament. And now this next series that we're about to have, Train, is going to determine who's going to be our first seed as well as get the pick advantage. That's going to be on the other side of this break, guys. We'll see you soon. Welcome back, everyone. Our final series in the last week of the Summer Showdown qualifiers is coming up soon, and we got the Shanghai Dragons versus the Seoul Dynasty, the two gladiators that have gone against each other in the APAC before, but have been leading the pack of APAC.
I think you said it yesterday quite well, Vicky. You said they seem to be like 2-tier breaks above the rest of the team, so cut above the rest. This should be a fantastic showdown in this stage in particular, just because we've seen how dominant they can be against opposing teams, rarely dropping maps. I think Seoul dropped two of which came yesterday, and Seoul and the Shanghai Dragons, I believe, have only dropped one map so far. So Yeah, in terms of records, this is pretty tight. You can see across the season as well, 14-3 identical records so far when it comes to map win-losses. This one is going to accelerate one above the other. There could be some shenanigans in the tournament. We can worry about that another time. But in terms of regular season and qualification, only one of these teams can sit on top of the region.
And what's nice to note is I was talking to Avril earlier on today, and we had mentioned this just a few days ago too, where this is El Clásico match basically that we have on our hands, because Seoul and Shanghai actually have the longest standing rivalry between any two teams in the entirety of the Overwatch League, with a total of 22 total series played. So it's really nice to see this be the finale, and for this to determine which of these teams are going to be sitting in the first seed for the Summer Showdown tournament. With both of these teams being 5-0 in this stage, I'm wondering how this is going to play out, because like you mentioned before, Dragons dropped one map, we saw Dynasty drop 2 maps, and they both dropped maps to Philly Fusion. So we're going to see how that's going to play out here between both of these teams.
Yeah, Philly Fusion being the spoiler of the region, apparently. Glad to see they actually just secured their place in the Summer Showdown. If you're tuning in just now for this matchup, Fusion were able to take down the Spark with a high enough map differential to make sure they took the 4th place away from the Chengdu Hunters, and they give themselves a spot in the Summer Showdown. Seoul Dynasty versus Shanghai Dragons. I wonder if we can get the Seoul Dynasty roster up just to go through it. It's been quite a consistent one throughout the course of the season. Not really many changes when it came round to this stage. Obviously, we put Prophet into the support role, which is probably the most confusing part of this one. But they've been performing very well, as demonstrated by the Seoul Dynasty's record. Stalker and Fitz, they've really come into their own, relying heavily on things like the Genji, particularly for Stalker, who's been having a whale of a time.
Yeah, you know, we talked about it in our previous series. It's nice to talk about it right now. Rookie players popping off left to right. Stalker, Vindame, love this from the Dynasty here. And yeah, this is going to be nice to see what they're going to do against the Dragons, because when we take a look at the Dragons, it's also nice to note that the Dragons, I believe, are actually leading in terms of their set history, 13-9. So with the Dynasty and the way that they've been performing so far within the APAC region, it'd be nice for them to overtake them and have that opportunity throughout this season.
It would be indeed, just to be able to make a true statement of your own. But Stalker, Fitz, Smurf, Prophet, Vindame. Smurf is... there was some criticism, I believe, from the previous day. Smurf maybe not getting involved as much as they want to, but also cries from the other side of the community saying Smurf was potentially robbed the player of the match sometimes. These are the things that happen, the dichotomy of the Dynasty. Taking a look at the Shanghai Dragons roster. Lip, who are you? Void, Izayaki, Lee Jae-gon. Who are you? Someone who is heralded as one of, if not the best Genji in the world, has been having so much fun in this meta, Vicky.
He's been going crazy. I mean, when we talk about the best Genjis in the entire league, Who Are You is in that conversation. But can this contention between Who Are You and Stalker play out in the explosive way that I'm expecting here between both of these teams? I'm wondering, as we are going to get set up here, the Dragons looking fantastic up to par, as well as the fact that, again, they only dropped one map so far in the qualifiers for the Summer Showdown versus the Dynasty, who just yesterday did lose 2. Now, very close in terms of where these two teams are standing in the APAC region. Like you mentioned before, Trin, and like we've talked about earlier on yesterday, these two teams are on a completely different plane than the other teams in the APAC region. And I'm excited to see how this is going to play out.
Yeah, I love that you touched on the Who Are You Stalker matchup here. You've got that established veteran, the rookie on the upshot. That's a really interesting dynamic to see play out throughout the course of the series. Can Stalker almost steal some of the thunder, steal the mantle away from Who Are You in terms of Genji performance in such a Genji-dominant meta right now? I'll be keeping an eye on that one in particular as the series evolves. Izayaki and Lee Jae-gon, they've been a fantastic backline duo throughout the entire season. Prophet obviously stepping into this role, experienced on the Brigitte from previous metas, but now coming into it in the context of a true support. Against such experienced and veteran backline on the Dragons, that's also an interesting one to keep an eye out as well. I think Vindame's been playing fantastically anyway. I'm not too worried about Vindame holding up against Lee Jae-gon in this series.
Yeah, it really does play out into that rookie versus veteranship that we've been seeing between the Dynasty and the Dragons. It's really enjoyable also to see that the Dynasty are feeling nice. You can see some smiles. They're laughing. They're enjoying themselves before they dive into this match, especially after what we had seen from their faces just yesterday against Philadelphia. A lot of interesting series that we've had throughout this week in Trid, but of course this is APAC for a reason, and this is where the chaos really goes down.
Absolutely. Players are just getting into the lobby just to lock us off and get us into the series. Our first map of the day, or for this series, is going to be Lijiang Tower. You could technically consider that Shanghai Dragons' home map, if you wanted to look at it from the lore. But, you know, we don't really have home and away advantage. That'd be kind of weird, wouldn't it, in Overwatch League? But no, I'm expecting a lot of good things from this series in particular. Like I said, there's playing for first place. Summer Showdown positions are all really locked in right now. You've got to think of the overall context of the season leaderboard and what this means for playoffs and looking towards grand finals, because that's around the corner. Basically, after the Summer Showdown, we have Countdown Cup and then we have playoffs. So it's getting closer and closer to the main event where we will truly be able to see more of these West versus East clashes and hopefully see who's going to take home the ultimate prize at the end of the season. Because I think especially with the Junker Queen meta that we're in, Vicky, there's still a lot of conversation about West, East, who's actually coming out on top of this one. A lot of hype around the Dallas Fuel. People will be like, no, the Fuel are going to kick whoever comes from the Eastern region back down to the curb in this one. And it's always interesting that we get those more international clashes. I am curious to see what comes of it in the Junker Queen meta. But as we keep highlighting, we've already been told that there are going to be changes coming post-stage. So I can only imagine what the meta is going to look like or what it's going to evolve into for Countdown Cup and playoffs, and whether the opinion that the West is more dominant will still hold true if we move away from the Junker Queen meta.
That, and if Genji's even going to be prevalent there too, because that's where we found a lot of that success with the Dragons having Who Are You pop off. That's really allowed the Dragons to really shine here too, as well as the fact that it's the reason why the Dynasty are currently leading in the overall standings here in the East. They're on top of the Dragons, who had a bit of a rough start here versus the Dynasty in terms of where we were standing in the start of the season. And this is the opportunity for the Dragons to not only make that comeback in terms of overall points since they already qualify, but it's also what really trickles into the importance of getting that first seed, where the team that does come out on top of the series is going to be able to obtain as well as get that first pick choice.
I'm going to start naming and shaming players. Do you know who's not in the lobby yet? The reason why we've not started the game? Lip. They get enough time. They get enough time. I give them enough time. If they're making, that's how this works. they get enough time. But no, it's Lip who's causing the map to be delayed. Don't send hate though. It's probably something to do with technical. The team, to be honest, just came in. Probably weren't expecting the series to end that quickly, because ultimately our previous series was quite quick. Even though we did go to 4 maps, Vicky, they were very fast maps because of the full hold. So rationing up the team is all good. Just get to make sure they're comfortable, make sure they're ready. We don't want to rush them into a match that's as important as this. And then we'll get the map on the way and kick things off on Lijiang Tower shortly.
I love the players before they jump into the game. You can see the sudden happiness, excitement, and then it slowly trickles down to, all right, game face, you gotta lean forward real quick. It's not real unless you lean forward as far as you can where your nose touches the screen. But also, you know, we got the Dragons just having fun with it, as looks like we actually got everybody in the lobby right now. We are just getting set up currently. Like Trid mentioned before, first map is going to be going into Lijiang Tower. Now, a map that we've actually seen Faras come out from some of our teams beforehand. Look, this is what I was talking about. The smiles, they're laughing, they're having fun right now. We even got Stalker with the sippy cup, taking some notes from the Valiant that we had seen just yesterday. By the way, Who Are You? I heard when he's got those clippies in his hair, I hear he is at his full power. So
maximum power level, the clips unlock.
He's getting 5G. He's getting the 5G connection real quick with the clips.
All right, Lijiang Tower could be a potential here for us. We know it's a bit of their kingdom. Starting off on Command Center, though. No real surprises in the lineup. I'm sure when they get out onto the field itself, probably we'll see the movement away from the Symmetra. As much as I'd love to see an Izayaki and a performance, definitely not what we're going to see as well here. Just really not the flavor of this stage, unfortunately. Symmetra's out for the TP's in, and then we'll get our other variant damage dealer pick. I imagine we are going to see the Sojourns in full effect, and there it is. Lip and Fitz going to have that showdown on the mirror matchup.
Oh,
they were going to have that showdown on the mirror matchup, but Profit got there first and absolutely destroyed Lip.
What? That was insane. But now you see 2 going down here for the rest of the Dragons, and the Dynasty. What a dominating performance in that first team fight to already get control over the point first.
wide Stalker happy there in the player cam you saw, as they were able to secure themselves a very fast first fight win and first cap of Command Center so far.
You see Lip getting
my
taken
God,
down again. Fitz, okay, with a little nice cheeky angle, having that opening right there. Lip getting called out of position, and immediately the Dragons back away. They didn't want to take any chances with the disengagement.
This is turning into Lip Stay Alive challenge brackets very hard at the moment. Gone down first in both of these fights so far. Able to still get 33% ult charge though, despite dying very quickly, so they're able to find some impact before they're going down potentially. Or at least trying to weave in that value. Love what we saw Fitz do. The right click just came out of nowhere, interwoven with the left clicks there. So the railgun just took everyone by surprise and was able to have that sudden burst onto Lip. Able to stay alive. He's on the off angle for the time being. They're going to rotate round to the stairs, try and contest downwards.
See Fitz going to be able to send out that shot here. You see the disruptor shot as well, controlling so much space. The engagement though, starting off. Stalker trying to have the opportunity as Izayaki falls a little low. So does Fitz though. Stalker getting taken out. Izayaki, the Flail's going to be able to take him, but it's going to be a trade for trade profit on another level with these follow-ups here. But it's Lip with a big shot onto Smurf, and now the Dragons turning things around in their favor. Finally, 60% on that point in favor for the Dynasty.
So we'll get the flip. Ultimates not yet drawn, but they are relatively close across the board. An explosive fight on the horizon as the Seoul Dynasty will attempt to retake the points. Lucio's leading the charge on the ult, which means we'll get sound barriers definitely in play here. Who Are You and Stalker not far behind on their blades. Wonder how good Lip's going to be with the accuracy. Doesn't even need the overclock. This is big for the Shanghai Dragons. If Seoul Dynasty stick around, they're just going to be farming ult charge. Nothing really they can get from this fight now. Who Are You's there on clean up, and the explosive fight will have to wait another day.
Look at the power that those clips are giving Who Are You right now. He is fully engaged right here as the Dynasty are going to look for a reset, and Fitz with the big pick onto Lip. That's going to be the quick disengage from the Dragons. They're going to be able to back away. Again, look at these ults that they're about to have here to match that as Who Are You's going to pop the blade despite Lip not being in this fight. That's completely fine. He finds Vindame. He immediately puts the advantage back in the Dragon side as Lip is going to be able to meet up with them soon. The rally was called in by Profit though, still was engaged. And now here comes the overclock.
Void's
coming in
exposed.
from Vince. Gonna get a pick here. Void's super low. Stalker finds him here. And the sound bear from Lee Jae-gon to keep the rest of the Dragons alive. Trade.
Bit of the alley-oop coming in from the Dynasty lineup. Fitz does all the work to trap them down. Rampage from Smurf finding free. Voids lost their life. Won't be bringing that ultimate to the fight. The flip has to come in for the Dynasty here. Love the teamwork there from Fitz and Stalker. Fitz using the damage just to get everyone down low. Stalker comes in with a cleanup on the blade, guaranteeing the kill on Void. And not only removing the tank, but removing the Rampage, which is an advantage they had in the fight. Pushed them over the limit. 75% and counting. We're getting into that final fight territory in this first round.
The bada bing, the bada boom here, Trib, because they used up a lot of their ultimates in that last fight to try to stay alive. Void still has the Rampage at least, but they're going to need to rely on this. Hopefully they have the survivability. First pick, though, onto Fitz is going to actually allow the Dragons to turn this point.
Oh, it's all about these first picks coming in from Lip and Fitz in this series. They're just being able to just take so many people out before the fight even begins. Void lands a huge Rampage. 99% is going to come on the board for the Seoul Dynasty. This is it. Only a sound barrier in effect for Vindame, rolling out to try and retake this point away from the Shanghai Dragons. Winning the fight decisively will give them the round as well.
That was the best case here for the Dragons to be able to get that first pick here. Who Are You falls incredibly low. Vindame now with the rest of the Dynasty is going to help their survivability as the Dragons push all the way forward. Izayaki gets taken down. You can see Who Are You trying to isolate Fitz. He's not going to give it to him. He's got the spawn right there. And now with the cleanup, they're going to be able to move right along onto that point.
It's a big overcommit from the Shanghai Dragons. They went beyond their choke point to try and fight the Dynasty outside their spawn. They had that safety net they could always fall back to, though. See a lingering Lee Jae-gon trying to find a way to touch the point. Won't be able to make the contact. Izayaki doesn't make it there in time to trigger overtime, and the Dynasty take the first round. As I was saying, Vicky, huge overreach there by the Shanghai Dragons to try and take the fight right outside the spawn room. You saw how many members of the Dynasty were able to retreat to the safety of the spawn room and mitigate that damage, get the immediate healing, and come back out strong. Really not the position you want to be taking that fight, especially if you can't finish it quickly.
It was really nice from Vindane to pop the sound barrier there too and immediately go into the speed boost with the song, because then he was allowing the Dynasty to also kind of spread out, because Who Are You popped the blade. There was no isolation pick right there. He wanted to narrow down that focus onto Fitz that has that power slide, so he's going to be able to get out of that dangerous zone, out of Who Are You's reach essentially, and it does look like we are going to have the Pharah rolling out from Who Are You.
Yeah, nice little match from Stalker as well. So they're going off with the Genji legacy angle we were looking for. Wonder if anyone's tempted to go for the Echo to try and just go for a more direct counter in these engagements. Prophet's found Lee Jae Gon, so it's not feeling like Lee Jae Gon tower today, Vicky. I can tell you that for true. Nice environmental concussive blast off there. I think knocked someone off the map. I think it's Void who ultimately goes down there. So huge advantage for the Dynasty. They will be able to rotate round and get that first cap, barring any shenanigans.
Profit stocks are up with a lot of these important first picks currently right now, and with Stalker going to be able to come out on top with the Pharah battle. You already see the swap up from Who Are You, getting right back over to the Genji.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me that they're going to try and mix it up. The Pharah duel not working out. Not tempted to go over to the Echo either. We'll try and win the ground war. Stalker's found Lee Jae Gon though. Someone needs to get aerial superiority away from Stalker. His early picks, he can't get away with it. He's storming away an ult charge as well. Yes, the barrage not going to be the most impactful thing to bring to the table when you're looking at the ultimates across the board. Locking in your coordinates when Lip can just railgun you out of the sky can be quite lethal. Can't deny the effect this is having on Shanghai Dragons though.
With the way that Stalker's positioning himself, he's out of that range from Lip, and Lip gets taken down from Fitz. Nice angle here from Fitz, but it's a lot of the damage coming out from Stalker, that burst damage, that's just allowing him to run away with this. Now he's also not scared of Lip because Lip is not in the fray, so he can continue holding up a little bit, get a little bit more aggressive with some of these angles.
Talk about crossfire coming from different angles, Vicky. You got to remember, when the Pharah's on the field, you're adding in a vertical access to this as well. You're playing in not only having to look left and right, but up and down. That crossfire becomes even harder for someone like Fitz to deal with. You can't get caught off guard here. Big barrage, don't manage to survive. That's the sacrifice you have to make. As long as you can trade up on the Pharah, though, potentially getting something like Void out of the fight, it can be worthwhile to use the barrage. Dominant position still being maintained here by the Dynasty as they get towards 99%. They're popping the rally and there's nothing to match. Izyaki's a couple of percent off of it.
See if he can manage to help contain Who Are You. He's going to be able to pop it. Now the rest of the Dragons are going to move in from the white room right now. The overclock from Fitz. Yeah, you see him trying to take this off angle without trying to be in that line of sight of Who Are You at his blade. He could get enabled here from the sound barrier, but do the Dragons want to burn everything currently right now with the space that the Dynasty have bought in?
He was denied so much. They kept Who Are You out of the front line, was able to mitigate all the damage they were bringing. They've not even given up the point yet, despite the cusp of the Dragons being able to cap it. Beat committed by Vindane and Lee Jae Gon. Who Are You needs some healing as he dashes through to try and cut down Prophet. Still sustaining throughout this fight. Lip has to pop the overclock here. We're looking for his aim to be true. Stalker's in his face, forcing him out of the fight with the deflect. He holds the line, pulls the trigger. The second it ends, and slides back in to help the rest of his team. The Shanghai Dragons get the flip at 99%.
Beautiful patience right there from Lip to actually wait out on that deflect real quick so that way he could take care of Stalker, who was blocking in between himself and the rest of his team from the white room. Better late than never as the Dragons do get that flip, but 99% in favor of the Dynasty. And you take a look at these ult charges, that Rampage could mean a lot here. Looking at Prophet to get that rally online soon.
Thanks for the help.
Should be able to re-assault this one. If Dynasty can get the Dragons to step forward into this corridor on bridge and they get hit by a big Rampage, just wins the fight for them outright. They're not going to be baited into it. They're playing further back. Smurf can sit on this one for a little bit. Attempts to go for the pullback there. Finds the angle. Rampage cuts through free. Where's the counter coming in? Void's not close to finding it, and Fitz removes his head with the railgun. 2-1 advantage in favor of the Seoul Dynasty as they get back on the point and start capping it. It's going to have to be Izayaki to touch. Doesn't get there in time, so we'll be playing around with overtime to begin with, waiting for the reinforcements to come in. Izayaki pulled onto the point by the Jagged Knife from Smurf as they go on the hunt for this lone Brigitte before returning to the point. But Izayaki still standing strong, hasn't gone down. Who Are You finds Fitz. The Shanghai Dragons are about to turn it.
What? How did Izayaki live for so long? The overtime now is still online. The contention is Who Are You cleans up Prophet. The fact that the Dragons are going to be able to flip this point again. What an amazing stuff from Izayaki and Lee Jae-gon right there. That rally actually helped out the Dragons so much just in terms of survivability and to prevent the Dynasty from actually completing that point.
Now, we're getting close for Shanghai Dragons to take us to round number 3. You have Fitz Overclock, Stalker's Blade. Lee Jae-gon has the beat. It's a good tool to answer these damage ultimates and try and level out the playing field. Void was able to hold on to that Rampage as well as that going into the final fight. Charges through, finds free. Vindame already on the back foot, but it's Smurf to go down first. They're going to take this one. They still have time. Don't give up ult charge. Just get out of this one and reset for your last attempt at winning the round and the map.
Who are you cleaning up? Lip also with that nasty shot from the back real quick here too. Dynasty having to now play through that last fight territory. The Dragons have been able to even things up with the Dynasty currently.
Stalker to touch. Deflects and gets himself away. Can't go down here. They have the blade. Overclock pumps one into Stalker. Prophet's gone down. Lee Jae-gon with the soundwave. Lip takes out Stalker! Pulls out the blade, immediately gets dropped. And the Shanghai Dragons are surely taking us to Night Gardens to finish this one off.
Oh, what a hold from the Dragons. Let's not forget that was all thanks to Izayaki for preventing the Dynasty from completing that overtime in their favor. They flipped it and they held it here, Trid. Round number 3 underway between these two insane teams.
Oh, buddy. Coming down to the night market. The Faras were an interesting choice to kick things off. We ultimately saw everyone go back towards the Genjis. Lip being able to shut down Stalker at the end there, so important for the success of the Shanghai Dragons. Basically got him on cooldown with that overclock. They'll be rolling out with mirror compositions on this one to challenge and see who gets that first map advantage in this series.
All right, let's get started now. Gonna be able to try to get to that point here first, but we're gonna have that standoff first in the very front here. See Vindame just using that middle. Just try to get some extra poke pressure. Fitz too, trying to get that important pick. He falls incredibly low though, but Prophet still finds Lip. Prophet always opening things up to follow up from Fitz has been fantastic in these last 2 rounds.
It's been beautiful. Muted offense from the Shanghai Dragons, unable to get that positional advantage. You can stall for time, get Lip back into the fight, but they might just give the first cap over here. Void doesn't step forward in time. Happy to give that one over because they knew it would be an untenable fight for them to take.
Now with the Dragons regrouping though, he's a bit of a disengage here from the Dynasty before trying to find that other angle. Lip trying to fight on the other side here. Stalker going down though, that's going to be the green light for the Dragons now to move in. Free real estate here, this economy can be tricky here, and now you see Who Are You going to get traded out. Oh, goodbye. Whoa, flail for flail, Lee Jae-gon and Smurf are going down, and Prophet finds Izayaki again. Are you serious? That's 2 environmental kills, but the number advantage still in favor for the Dragons with Lip not getting contested whatsoever.
Yeah, able to stay alive, healthy on the point, was the capture merchant for them as well. 24% before the flip comes in. Dragons are going to get back to point a little bit faster now as the Dynasty approach to go around the outside in Lee Jae-gon Tower. Maybe not the best idea with so many environmentals in play to take that route, but they were able to do so. Who Are You? Just going to find his way back to get to the point, back to safety of his team, going for the duel with Stalker. Can't escape the blade, gets cut through. And here comes the beat as well to just secure victory for the Seoul Dynasty as they will get another flip back against the Dragons.
Back and forth we go. Vindame using up that sound barrier, though, is going to be good news here for the Dragons as Lee Jae-gon's about to get his own sound barrier to contest Stalker with that blade. Smurf about to get that Rampage online soon. Currently, though, with the number percentage advantage, rather, on the point for the Dynasty, it's going to still be trailing ahead.
Block. Rallies as well.
Oh,
Lips
no.
off the side of the map.
Vindame!
Oh, huge battle again!
Another one?
It surely
he managed
sneaks
to
in there.
survive?
Wait, no, where's the Brigitte? Where is Izayaki there? I think they were able to shield bash back themselves back on after that one. But oh, I can't be getting away with madness like that. Not on Lijiang Tower.
That was Izayaki also using the rally at the very end there. Lip as well with the overclock. Fitz did too, and the support ults are off the table minus Lee Jae-gon, who's held it in, and now he's going to be able to allow Who Are You to go all the way in, slice and dice the rest of the Dynasty off of this point. 75% here in favor for the Dynasty, but with that flip, we're going to possibly see a very similar route to what we had seen in that last round on Lijiang Tower here, Trent.
I want to see the environmental kill stat after this round. I want to see how many have been accrued just on Night Market, because both backlines are being so successful at getting them and are really abusing the fact that there's just this kill box around the point. And a lot of teams seem to be pathing there. Rampage only going to find Vindane. It's enough to get the kill here. Very decisive from the Shanghai Dragons. Seoul Dynasty trying as best they can to get back to the point. Profit's going to get cleaned up here as well. And they're going to get a little bit of extra ult charge out of them as they start to match their map percentage.
Get a little aggressive again, just so that way they can try to get those dagger opportunities before backing away again. The disengagement immediately coming out from the Dragon, so that way they can hold that next choke point. Smurf is going to be able to roll back out, though, with the Rampage themselves. See that the opportunity. Nice little Jagged Blade right there to do some of that extra damage.
Final fight territory. Dragons have control. Smurf dies mid-Rampage!
What?
Unable to connect with anyone. That's surely going to be Dragons taking the first map now, cleaning up the Seoul Dynasty. And there's no one around to stall. Smurf's gone onto the wrecking ball to see if they can touch in the last second. And they're unable to. Shanghai Dragons draw first blood, take map number 1 away from the Seoul Dynasty.
Adding another little map in their pocket when it comes to this matchup between the Dragons and the Dynasty. Taking map 1, though, Trid. What a way to start things off for this series. All the way down to the wire, though, going into round 3 of Lijiang Tower.
Well, they've drawn it. Shanghai Dragons is a Arky, a player to definitely watch this series. A raid boss that's nearby impossible to take down on certain maps. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, map number 2 is going to be here waiting for you.
Welcome back, everyone. What a series for that first map already to open things up. Very close between both the Dragons and the Dynasty. But Trid, we are just starting up real quick. Before we dive into that, why don't we take a look at some cheeky environmental kills as well as the survivability of the likes of Izayaki.
Right, this is the Izayaki on Gardens, right? Where they just run down so low, able to stay alive. I think it's when they go in for a fight, and they go into white, I think. And at this point, Smurf and the rest of the Goon Squad are chasing him down. And he just does not die. I think he gets compacted here in a second. Yeah, look at them. They're just running all at him. How terrifying that must be. And Izayaki jumps across, using the shield bash to just close the gap and gets himself in a position where he's still alive and finds some value for the rest of the team fight. And the worst part of that was, like, we were watching it from Smurf's POV originally. Smurf looked at Izayaki and was like, all right, I got you. Like, okay, the team's got this. I'm going to go back to the point and focus on that. Starts walking back to the point, and he probably was looking for the kill feed to see Izayaki come up, and he's like, all right, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? And then he suddenly gets hit by a Brigitte flail because he's just still alive and manages to sustain throughout the fight. So a little bit of raid bossery coming from Izayaki, keeps him alive in the fight. As you said, Vicky, let's look ahead to the next map, though. Midtown is going to be where we're going next. The hybrid map, of course, one of the new ones in Overwatch 2. And there have been no substitutions, no changes, and I'm expecting the lineup that both of these teams run out with in terms of heroes are going to stay relatively the same as well. Probably not going to see much variation, although we have seen in the past some variations over to Echo and Pharah, particularly on point A of this map.
I'm interested to see what's going to be the option here since we've been seeing so many different variations. It's here on Midtown and Paraíso that we've been seeing some of those different variations, especially with those longer sight lines. Could help enable the Ashe. The Echo, of course, going to be able to duplicate that Junker Queen, but there's a reason why we haven't been seeing it as usual. Of course, the Genji just having so much impact. Now I'm looking at more of these bonks that we've been getting with these flails. I'm excited to see some more of that from Izayaki. Not going to happen here on this map, but of course with that survivability, that's going to help out the rest of the Dragons, especially with that stall potential that we saw.
Look at that, beautiful statues of Liberty. We are in New York. Could be a destination for grand finals. I don't know where that is yet.
That'd be nice, right? That'd be pretty
nice
cool.
to return to form, go back to where it all started for the start of Overwatch 2. Started it in Overwatch 1 grand finals.
If you go, you have to speak like a New Yorker, though.
I'm not going to do that. I feel like I could insult too many people. For some reason, I feel like I know it's quite a multicultural place. I probably just, my natural instinct with a New York accent is trying to put in maybe a little bit too much Italian. And at which point I wouldn't feel comfortable, so I'm not going to do that.
Hey, you nailed the Paraíso point right there. You know, you nailed it earlier on today.
New York.
No, you just basically got it right there. I believe in you.
Well, New York.
Look at these angles that we're currently seeing, though. Who are you actually isolating Van Dame in that side room here? And he's still going. He gets shut down. But that's already a nice start here for the Dragon Strike. Bam.
Easy start here for the Dragons. Solid defense. Need more of that. They burned 30 seconds. Still got a lot of time left to get through. Collected a little bit of ult charge from themselves, but nothing super substantial at this point. And I expect the Dynasty, their plan will be, don't let Who Are You kill two of us on the entry. Yep, good. That's the plan. They're going to move forward.
Here you have it, Coach Trade once again. Always laying down the facts real quick. Trying to find where Who Are You is, though.
Don't listen to my coaching. It's not good.
Oh, they're trying to just try to pass right through the under part of that bridge, and they've isolated Lip, so it found a lot of success here for the Dynasty. Nice shout to also put them into that position. Who Are You is going to be on the other side as Izayaki now finds Profit. Going to get some of that revenge after those initial pickups that we saw on Legion Tower earlier.
Yeah, giving up over a third right now. Shanghai Dragons waiting for the reinforcements to come in. Smurf under the cosh. Jagged Blade won't find a connection, tries to pull it back. And it will not pull them back into an exposed area. They'll take Stalker as the consolation prize. 63.6% accrued for the Seoul Dynasty so far. They don't get that second tick of the checkpoint, so they're only able to walk away with one piece of the pie.
Now look at this blade difference that we're going to have between Who Are You and Stalker. Who Are You is basically about to get it. He falls a little bit low here, but he's going to be able to back away in the line of sight of Izayaki and the lovely hands of Li Jaegan. He's got the blade online here, and Profit's going to be close to that rally. I'm going to be also looking at Fitz to try to get that initial pick off. If they could even isolate Who Are You. He's going to dash in. He's going to have the blade. Nice boop off to the side, but he's going to still push in. Vidame also going to fall a little low, so his Smurf Fitz now with the overclock is going to try to find that opportunity. Didn't get the impact that Who Are You was expecting inside that close room with the blade.
Vicky, you try getting impact when you feel like a pinball inside a pinball machine. He just bounced around that entire room. How is he supposed to know which way is up at that point? I'm not surprised he couldn't find any value. Lijiang comes in with the sound barrier. Vindame has to answer it. Lands the connection, finds it on all members as well, so that will balance out the HP differential we had. 1 minute 30 left on the clock. Shanghai Dragons losing Void. This opens it up for Dynasty to be able to continue their progress they started already. Try and get themselves over to getting the point A capture. Stalker just dashes around, gets the cleanup. Who are used there to be killed at the end. But it does take Profit with him as a little parting gift, but that's point A going over to the Dynasty, and we get a time back extension and move on to the escort section of this map.
Listen, Trade, APAC is the circus, and who are you? Just participated in the bounce house real quick over to the side, okay? He may have not gotten that impact here, but this is good news here for the Dynasty. While the Dragons are going to be able to filter out, they're also going to have enough time to get onto this high ground, which is important because that space wasn't denied by the Dynasty because they were so focused on trying to get that payload moving.
Keep him around that first corner. Very muted for the time being. Long sight lines for Lip to abuse here with the overclock. Really want to trigger that one online. Don't show yourself to Fitz though. He can still snipe you away. Going forward quite aggressively here from Lip. Good presence of mind for the Seoul Dynasty to just give up the space. Don't challenge that ability. Finds a headshot. Don't think it's going to get away with much damage though. Now it just resets the entire fight. Smurf and Stalker have the Rampage and the Dragon Blade ready to go in this next engagement.
Oh, Void's going to pop in here first.
Finds free. Fitz is going to go down here, surely.
Oh, they're still going right now here, Trade. Both of the supports out from the Dragons. No sustainability as Void's going to meet them back in the spawn. Who are you understanding the situation, though? Is just going to hold on to the Blade right there. Smurf goes down with the Rampage, but this is good news because this is the part here on Midtown that could get tricky. Getting right past underneath this bridge with the spawn point being right there for the Dragons always makes it difficult, so you want to hold on to that Rampage. Profit finding himself incredibly low.
Little love tap on the way out there from Mizuyaki, sending Profit flying as they go for that reset. Like you said, very tight corridor here to be abused. Shanghai Dragons might want to be conscious of the Rampage that Smurf has in their pocket. They do walk forward, challenge them. They might just set themselves with a perfect lineup. There's the rally from Profit. Blade from Who Are You? Having to cut through that additional armor is a bit of a tall order. Smurf hits the Rampage, only catches Lijiang, which is surprising as the most mobile member on that team. They leveled it out with a kill onto Stalker, so 5 versus 5. Fitz using the overclock, bursts through Void. Nothing else for him to survive there. And the Shanghai Dragons need to consolidate themselves, get them back together. They will be able to emerge around this point with a beat from Lijiang to keep the fight going, take it back to the Seoul Dynasty. Profit under so much pressure will get taken out by Who Are You. They get control of the payload. 1 minute 12 remaining. Seoul Dynasty finding 2 kills, open it back up for themselves. They can clear away Void and Lijiang. They should be able to walk this one over the line, but Who Are You? Doing the Lord's work to find Smurf and Fitz, keeping alive on the point, and the Shanghai Dragons are able to hold this one. And it now forces the final fight territory for the Seoul Dynasty.
What a seesaw that fight was. Not only did the Dynasty come out nearing that fire truck to the very end of that point, but Lijiang using the barrier last to keep the rest of the Dragons alive, while Who Are You isolated Profit, being the first pick out from the Dynasty, but then turning around and still without having the man advantage, being able to take care of the Dynasty was huge from Who Are You. Like you mentioned, Trid, last fight territory here for the Dynasty.
Lip should be able to pop that overclock soon. We've seen how good both Lip and Fitz have been in this series of getting those picks before the fight starts. Overclock's a great tool to enable the burst. Stalker can't walk forward, gets caught on the exit! 4v5, 10 seconds remaining. Seoul Dynasty have to take an inefficient fight. Stalker will be coming back with the blade. They can store it long enough. They've taken out Who Are You? 4 versus 4. No Genji's present. Stalker will get back with the blade beforehand. Could be the difference maker.
The support ults on either side. Overtime now. Currently, a Stalker's going to be able to make his way back with the blade, but so is Who Are You? This could change everything here currently. And it's Smurf going down first. Void's going to be able to get the Rampage for this elongated fight. Here comes Stalker. He needs to get a lot of impact.
And the veteran cuts down the rookie!
Shuts him down, slicing him up like a piece of ham. And the rest of the Dragons are going to be able to take control. Fitz are still fighting these important picks because he's not getting denied on the high ground right here. But still, they need to touch a point. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to. They won't even get it to that first point, initial point right here, as the Dragons hold back the Dynasty.
What a performance there from the Dragon. Stalker unable to find a connection with the blade, and while they're up in the air, Who Are You took the opportunity to cut him down, slicing through him, ending the blade duration early, and starting the advantage that the Dragons needed to end the Seoul Dynasty's run. Just shy of point B, so it does mean we have a bit of distance to go. Take a look at that replay quickly from Who Are You.
See, this is the point right now where the Dynasty had won in terms of numbers, and Who Are You going to be able to dash in, find not only Fitz and Smurf, but one last member here to shut down Stalker. Absolutely insane there, because it was going back and forth in that last fight. You saw that the Dynasties were able to light up that kill feed all nice and gold. But Lee Jae-gon's survivability to help out the Dragons there also really helped Who Are You. Allow them to follow up and close out those lives from the Dynasty when they were falling themselves low.
Now it's time for Dynasty to set up on their defense. Shanghai Dragons riding the high right now. They lead the series after the first map. Could take us to match point after 2 maps, and I think that'll be a disappointment for the fans at home. I think a lot of people were expecting this to go to distance and be a 5-map series, and we're on the cusp of having that taken away from us slowly but surely.
Gracie coming right back to Void real quick, as they're going to be able to immediately speed boost themselves onto that point, wasting no time, but Stalker is going to be able to find Lip. That's going to cost the Dragons here as they down a man. Let's see if Who Are You could actually get that trade. It doesn't look like it's going to work out for them, though, as Void gets taken down here, too. Fitz finds himself low, but now the Dragons are still at that disadvantage, and it looks like the Dynasty currently are going to be able to hold their ground on the defense.
Yeah, solid work from the Dynasty to begin with. Finding that easy pick on Lip really does take all the wind out of their sails. Just about to hit the 1-minute mark for time burn. Need to have something left in the tank if they want to try and hit point B as well. You do get a nice extension, but there can be a lot of stall potential in that first section of the escort part of this map. Getting through the train is the first kind of chokehold on the first frontier, if you would. Stalker running down low, needs some assistance from his team, will have to hide away. Fitz taking a lot of shurikens there, maybe too many, and causing some healing resources to be diverted over to them. Same thing can be said for Void, though. Look how low the Jungle Queens are getting. Beautiful snipe there from Lip to open it up, though. This gives them the advantage they need to move on to the point, and they're going to hit them with everything they've got to try and turn this and convert it to a point A capture. Who Are You? Consistently doing the Lord's work right now, hunting behind Stalker, waiting for the defense to come in, goes for the dash for the reset. They're just clearing up the last remaining pieces now, and they want to hunt out last remainers of Dynasty before they're able to go and contest. They'll get the capture 100%, and they're going to have 4 minutes and 45 seconds to be able to assault point B.
Nice positioning here from Lip, too. And with that first pick from Lip, that enabled the rest of the Dragons to move in, not only with the man advantage, but also without having to burn any of these ultimates to hold this next corner. This is what we were making mention of before here, where the Dynasty couldn't really push up with the time that they had to cop this point, and they weren't really able to get to the high ground immediately first. So the Dragons are going to be able to try to deny them some of that space. You could already see Who Are You over by the side here, trying to put in some of the extra pressure. Here comes Stalker now with the blade.
Yeah, tired of these conversations of having Who Are You take the advantage. That door was closing just at the right time to protect the Shanghai Dragons from losing even more. Did stop Stalker from going forward and getting caught behind the door and picking up any additional kills. So we'll just take the one, stalls the progress of the payload. Shanghai Dragons have both damage ultimates, a rally, and they're on the cusp of getting Void's Rampage up as well. They have the tools to penetrate through his defense. Speaking of being penetrated, Lee Jae-gon's head has just been absolutely removed by Fitz. Just a beautiful railgun shot to kill any chance they have of continuing this push.
Nice little follow-up, too, from the Disruptor shot, slowing him down, just allowing Fitz to get that sitting target, basically, before he can actually escape. Now seeing Who Are You has the blade. He got the dash here first initially, but Vindane with a great reaction with the sound barrier. Here comes Smurf with the Rampage. He shoots down Who Are You, and Who Are You cannot live. Another Rampage now coming in, finding Smurf and Stalker. Smurf finding himself incredibly low, and Fitz getting wiped out. Lip on a terror low, finding Smurf and Fitz. That was absolutely huge right there, too, of being able to isolate Prophet over to the side. Nice Rampage answer from Void.
not looking good for the Seoul Dynasty. They've probably got 1 or 2 more fights left in them if they're fast. And 3 minutes at a time back to burn. Lip able to get so many picks there without even using the overclock. They'll have that as an option for this next fight. Need to get themselves off the payload though, create some distance between them and the rest of the Seoul Dynasty. They do not want to get run over at this point.
Lip with the overclock ready. The high ground available to him. You can see the way the Dynasty are over to the side. They're trying to get out of that sight line of Lip, but no running away here once you get that jump. Warrior falls incredibly low, and Lip finds Vindame off to the corner there too. It's again now, Dragon's so close.
No.
Oh, and still on a terror, they're cleaning up the Dynasty train, and they get the payload exactly where the Dynasty left it.
They knew that Lip was using the overclock, and Vindame had the jewels to just run out into open territory and loses their head immediately. They were trying to challenge for high ground. They're moving in as a unit. However, if you just get picked off like that, you're worthless to the team. And a 4v5, when everything was on the line there, right at the end of point B, is not the start you need. Shanghai Dragons, they're saying no to this being close. They're saying no to this being the showdown that we were expecting. They want to close this out with a 3-0, and they have 1 more map to do it. When we come back from the break, watch Point Gibraltar could be the land where the Shanghai Dragons reign supreme.
Welcome back, everyone. The Dragons currently sit at match point, and they are looking fantastic while they do it, Trid. I mean, if this actually ends up being a 3-0, I believe that would only make Philly the only team to have taken a map off of Dragons in this entire qualifying stage. So that's interesting, but the Dragons, I have to highlight, are looking amazing right now versus the Dynasty. Winning fights that doesn't look like they should be winning right now.
Oh, no, they're getting away with murder at the moment, Vicky. And yeah, I mean, Philly being the only team to take a map off Dragons would be the most Philly thing in existence.
Sheesh.
Sheesh. That's a bit of an old one, but we'll bring it back anyway. We'll drop a sheesh. I'm surprised you're not migrated over to the swoosh.
No. I hear that so many times in South Florida, but going up next here to this third map.
Is that just a call? Is that just how people greet each other in South Florida now? Just
you'll hear it in the grocery store. It's crazy. I'm like utterly confused. I'm like, what's going on? But going on to this next map here, we are on Gibraltar and going over to what we had just seen on Midtown, Trid. What are you expecting some change-ups from the Dynasty right now? Because we are seeing some shutdowns by Lip that shouldn't be happening. The survivability between Izayaki and Who Are You, leaving Lijiang Tower after popping that rally and still being able to cross that corner and surviving on Gardens, as well as Who Are You surviving thanks to Lee Jae-gon's sound barrier and then cleaning up the Dynasty when they had initially gotten the first 2 picks in that fight. It's crazy to see this from the Dragons too, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Clutch Masters now going to be on the defense first. They'll set the tempo for the next round. Can't find a connection there with the Jagged Blade. Fitz trying their luck with the Widowmaker, going up to the skies, see if they can find the early pick. No one shows their head long enough, so we'll have to change back. I imagine they're going to go over to the Sojourn here. Oh no, they're going to go on the Ashe and match Lip on that variation pick that we see in this composition so often.
Very interesting, but playing a little bit close quarters in this first point could be nice here, as Lip is going to be able to stare down Fitz down the barrel and going to be able to claim his head while he's at it too. Great look already for the Dragons, wasting some time away from the Dynasty.
Dynamite's a little bit cheeky going over the top there, getting some extra ult charge in the pocket of Lip, steaming ahead against Fitz when they're on the race to get Bobber on the field. Stalker tries to claim some space, doesn't quite find the connection with the dash and the damage. We'll keep harassing and wall climbing here. Smurf has an exposed head, and that's exactly where we're going to see Lip aiming for. Fitz has gone down. Stalker's the next victim. All the final blows are coming from Lip until Lee Jae-gon gets involved in the action. Ah! What a bit of style there. Coach gun into the flick. Lip is a monster, Vicky.
Look at his reaction. He has no reaction, actually. He's just chilling.
Killer.
This is another day at work here. Well, meanwhile, Who Are You with the clips? He's getting all that energy. The signal's just going into his brain to make him act different, but it's going to be Lip that is just straight face while cleaning up the Dynasty.
Bit of an alley-oop kill there. Stalker dashes to the back line. Not been removed just yet. I think they're still lingering about. On the payload, fighting with Who Are You. We'll be able to push that forward a little bit longer. They're going to have to be challenged at some point. I think they've broken this chokehold that Shanghai Dragons have set for them on this first corner. Lip now has the Bob. They can send that down to stall. Looks like a lot of members. This would be a prime opportunity to get value if they want to, but they're going to use the Dynamite instead and wait for the fight to instigate and commit before Lip cuts off the retreat, I imagine, with the Bob.
Yep,
Bob
here comes that Bob
there it is.
from the high ground, and
right on top of
Dynasty
Vindame. That was a direct hit on a Bob to knock Vindame in the sky, and then it auto-targeted and killed the Lucio. The Bob placement was actually perfect from Lip, despite being under the pressure of Stalker.
Lip, who hurt you? This is crazy. What an ending right now from Lip. They are looking to wrap things up right now, Trid, and now you have 1 minute and 30 seconds on the clock for the Dynasty to even get that payload, not only past that car wash, but to that first point.
Good chance. A lot of low HP at the moment. Lip and Void under pressure. Smurf, there's a lineup there for you to use the Rampage. If your team were in a position to capitalize, it might have been good too. They're still compact in server room. Smurf going to lead the charge in here. Stalker has to dash away. Who Are You still harassing with the shurikens? Blade available well ahead of Stalker. Rally pop by Prophet. This is going to be a very expensive fight, I feel. Here comes the Blade from Who Are You. Pushed back. not shut out of the fight completely. That is until Vindane comes in with another sound wave. Doesn't find the connection against Fitz, who's still alive. Smurf cuts through, finding 2. Who are you? No support options for them. Should be going down here. Carnage cuts down afterwards. No bodies dropped. Void counter-attack, finding 4 with the Rampage. Void may just turn this fight around despite Stalker's Blaze. Lee gone, buys some space. Void takes him out with the Jagged Blades. If it's not Lip pulling out the clutches, it's the Junker Queen, Void. Saving his team right there, burning down the last 30 seconds. If this keeps going on, Seoul Dynasty will not have a cohesive push for a final fight.
They did it again. The Mad Lads did it again, and they're moving all the way up. Look at Lee Jae-gon's positioning real quick before managing to go right back around, but you are too far up ahead, separated from their team. Fitz being able to punish Lee Jae-gon for that. Okay,
Fitz can bring a Bob to the party. 6v4. There's a good opportunity for Seoul Dynasty to get a time extension and stay alive in this map. Bob, gonna cut down some of the angles in which the Shanghai Dragons can approach. They're hiding, they're buying time, waiting for the full unit. Izayaki can use the rally and they can just all emerge together. Fitz, fight who are you? Lip, the other threat of this team, still alive for the time being. Damage being pumped into Void. Not gone down just yet, still being sustained, but it will finally be taken out by Profit. Seoul Dynasty fans can breathe a sigh of relief. They will not get full held on Watchpoint Gibraltar. They get an extension and move into the second section of the map.
Now Stalker is going to be able to move all the way up top of the ship, so that way they could try to deny that positioning from the Dragons, but Lip's got another Bob online here, Trid. Nice little deflect though, and the Dynamite on top of that. He's going to be able to get healed up, and this is going to work nice for Lee Jae-gon and that sound barrier because currently the Dynasty have that rally online.
Okay, they'll line it up. Huge offensive from the Shanghai Dragons, running straight into the Seoul Dynasty, but Lip biting off more than they can chew. The aggression finally being punished by the Seoul Dynasty as members of the Dragons are just falling to the wayside. 1 minute 40 left on the clock. They've got enough time to be able to put this into point B. One more skirmish. If it's successful for the Shanghai Dragons, they can end the run here.
Second team fight win going in favor of the Dynasty. Not expensive though, despite using that rally. He's going to still have that sound barrier and the blade. Nice Dynamite here from Fitz on the high ground. Stalker to close things out. Yeah, here comes the sound barrier from Lee Jae-gon though. Despite losing out on Void and Izayaki, it's a deal with Stalker and the blade. He still fights Izayaki, so nice impact right here as Lee Jae-gon falls incredibly low.
I don't know what's happened to the Shanghai Dragons. They had such a tremendous start and they just seem to have lost all the gas in the tank. Lip with the last mover to fall down. But now we're into the final section, 2 minutes 30. Imagine if the Shanghai Dragons didn't take their foot off the gas. They could have closed out this map already. Instead now, they're staring down the barrel of a full map completion from the Dynasty.
All that momentum now in favor of the Dynasty. Especially in that second point. They were not held whatsoever. Void's about to get the Rampage soon. Who are you as well with the blade? It's about Fitz and the Bob and how it's going to actually control this next corner. As you can see, Who Are You just trying to get into position, but that could mean that Who Are You is going to have to respect that when the Bob comes out.
Dash up, Stalker trying to get us around the corner. Rampage finds Smurf and Stalker. Jagged Blade pull back. Smurf is exposed a little bit longer. They can't convert it into a kill. Profit puts the shield up to block the damage. They'll have to settle for Fitz, who is isolated in that engagement. 1 minute 30 left. The Dragons have taken back control. They can actually start looking to set up some kind of spawn cap against them. Carnage can't cut through the door, but the shurikens from Who Are You can.
They was so close to finding some safety here, as the Dragons are just going to look at them straight in the spawn again. Very similar to what we had seen on Lijiang Tower and Midtown. This is the aggressive state that we were used to seeing from the Dragons, just trying to deny even more time from the Dynasty, because now they're about to have less than a minute on the clock trade.
Yeah, Time Bank running down here, about halfway through point C as well, a little bit up the hill. It's started to roll back just a smidgen. Blade, overclock, rally. Shanghai Dragons have a lot of options. Overclock is the Bob that comes out. Thankfully, you've got that extra man because Lip's been removed off the field. Void's going to get cut down as well. Who Are You still holding on to that blade? Thankfully, the Shanghai Dragons have some meterage to play with here. It's going to be a beat, probably a Rampage before this map ends. Lip changing over to the Widowmaker here at the last hurdle. They know they're not going to be able to really accrue another Bob ultimate, but instant picks here when the time bank is so low can be pivotal.
Actually making the quick swap back. right beforehand. The Dynasty have a plethora of ultimates to work with as well here too. Trade for this final fight territory. Who are you with the blade? It's going to be important for Dame to stay alive, to utilize that sound barrier to keep everybody up.
What does he use it for, though? He's going to have to use it against the blade.
Yeah.
Lee Jae-gon's about to get theirs back. That's going to be important for Smurf's Rampage. Rally being popped.
Oh.
Carnage comes through. Who are you? Has the blade exposed. Cutting against sound barrier as expected. Couple members down for the Shanghai Dragons, and they will get caught by that Rampage there. Void and Who Are You being deleted afterwards. They do it in overtime. The Seoul Dynasty do complete Watchpoint Gibraltar.
That was the ult economy right there, really helping out the Dynasty. So the Dragons, they did have about that blade to really help them out, but at the very end, it's been Dame that was able to help the rest of the Dynasty get into position, boost up some more of those ultimates since they were so close to it, solidify that fight at the very end. It looked really rough in that first point on that attack, but they were able to really clutch it out once they got to that second point trade. It was a straight momentum for the Dynasty. They did get held close to that last corner by that final point by the Dragons, who pushed all the way up into their spawn. But it was the Dragons who disengaged, understanding the situation. They used up a good amount of their resources for that the second to final fight. And the Dynasty just taking full capitalization over it.
Well, what's going to be powerful for them, or strong here, so to speak, Vicky, is that Seoul Dynasty know that even if the Shanghai Dragons complete the map, they're going to get another attempt. So that's kind of like locking in an extra life, so to speak. It does mean that now they have to put the work in here, try and get a 1 on the scoreboard and take us to a map number 4, because, I mean, Shanghai Dragons, they can complete. They can complete with time, and they can still win the series on Watchpoint Gibraltar.
Getting set up now. Dynasty still sticking with Fitz on this Ashe. That Bob has been incredibly helpful here for both sides here too. See if Lip gets a nice cheeky pick with this Widow. See Smurf already settling up on the high ground, and Lip immediately swaps over to the Sojourn actually this time around.
Yeah, make use of the railgun, use the overclock, reposition quickly. Love that you can just get those quick bit of charge away. You just throw the dynamite around the corner, hit the shot, let it blow up, and take down clustered members of the team. Now, Lee Jae-gon took so much damage there. Imagine if that was the Sojourn coming out for the Seoul Dynasty. That probably wouldn't have been Lee Jae-gon being put under so much pressure there, because you don't have the railgun charge. One of the benefits that Ashe can have is instantaneous damage. Doesn't really matter though in the context of Seoul Dynasty just railing themselves through the Shanghai Dragons on this first corner. Very reminiscent of what the Dynasty had to go up against themselves.
Nice follow from Stalker there too, to just completely engage on the Dragons after Fitz was able to put down some of the extra damage themselves with the dynamite. You can already see that Bob being built up here. Stalker as well with the blade. Good looks here from the DPS of the Dynasty currently, as Lip is going to be able to roll right back out with VJ gone. Trying to see if maybe they could secure that high ground if they have that opportunity. Force the Dynasty from having this positional advantage while they get this payload through the car wash.
Yeah, it goes down nice and low underneath the tunnel. Will emerge out the other side. Lip's going to have to be doing a lot of looking up right now. Lord knows where the next offensive is going to come from. Knows Fitz is on the low ground now. Still gets caught by the dynamite as they rotate up the stairs. Still haven't cleared out the high ground though. They're actually taking a long way around here, Vicky, to try and claim some space and really get them out of this advantageous position. Oh my god, I lost my words.
It's about being able to force them off. If they're not going to get off, you got to force them here. And in the back end, you're going to have Fitz with the Bob to add in an extra member, but the sound barrier is still going to come out on top for the Dragons. A number advantage in favor for the Dragons, wasting no time to get this payload to that first initial point.
They should be able to complete here with some extra time in the bank. Not 100% sold on Lee Jae-gon using the beat there. I don't think they need to make that fight as expensive as they already had an advantage, but if it's going to secure them an additional time back to try and push through, yeah, sure, why not? It might come back to bite them in a bit though, because Stalker's going to have that blade. Hopefully Izayaki's rally will be enough for them.
Prophet's going to have the rally to match that here too, as well as Vin Dame. About to get that sound barrier, like you mentioned, Trader. Pretty expensive first point take there from the Dragons, but the Dynasty are going to have those ultimates online, minus the Bob. See Fitz already getting on top of that high ground. Been on point with those dynamites. Nice little headshot real quick. Now having to come down from the low ground though, you could see the Dynasty's position splitting off the attention from the Dragons. Rally for rally between Izayaki and Prophet now.
Ooh, Lip Oh, Lip! That's 2. Looking for the 3rd. Missed the shot on
Can you
Vinde.
get it?
Should be able to catch him at the end there.
Oh, you're so close.
Oh, Lip just using the overclock there. I was kind of worried about what was happening there. Izayaki popped the rally, went very aggressive with it. Stalker held onto the blade, didn't go for a counter attack, and by the time he was in a position to maybe use it, there's too much lost in terms of space and resource on the side of the Seoul Dynasty that it would have actually ended up causing more harm than good.
Ooh, here comes the Rampage. It only hits onto Smurf though here.
Solo Rampage. Don't always love to see it. Who Are You pulls the blade out. Stalker versus Who Are You again. Who can have the most impact? Fits under the cost. Gonna trade out 2 for 1. The Seoul Dynasty standing strong as they will stall out the push on point B.
Who Are You took a leap of faith to try to get at least more impact after that solo Rampage only onto Smurf, but it did the Dynasty even more justice. Now whittling away some more time from the time bank of the Dragons, and in that first initial point, they did waste a lot just so that way they could get that extra time, but now it's escaping their hands.
Go around the high ground, get themselves close to the point, cut off the Seoul Dynasty from the objective. This little stagnation they've had here have allowed them to get control of that payload once more. They will use the Mega to top up. They're taking these dinks consistently. Can't go down here. Always under pressure. Void finding Stalker though. Shanghai Dragons can press forward with confidence, knowing the Genji's not going to harass them. Bob just going to hold down the helicarrier, actually. He's going to come out and find Who Are You.
Saw the Rampage coming in too as Who Are You's going to go down. They trade that for Fitz here too, Trid. So the sound barrier being used up by Lee Jae-gon to help the survivability of the rest of the Dragons, but Prophet is staying alive for right now before getting melted down by Lee Jae-gon. Lip too, uninterrupted, still finding a lot of these shots. He's got the overclock that he can hold on to for that next corner, but they have the number advantage now in favor for the Dragons.
Doesn't need it. Lip is a man of a one-shot, one-kill mentality. 3 minutes in the time bank, moving on to point C. Prophet going to have to throw themselves off the edge here just to get a faster reset and not get fully staggered out.
Go Lip, having the overclock ready and on board here, Trid. They can try to get onto the high ground over to the side. Void's about to get the Rampage. Izayaki with the rally. Here comes the rally though first from Prophet. They're going to be able to move forward, trying to prevent them from moving in that next corner. But Lip though with the overclock, like we said before, Void was the one that's going to be able to take care of Smurf. The survivability of the rally isn't enough as the Dynasty lose another team fight. This is looking good. Looking at the time bank from the Dragons right now, nearly 2 seconds, less than 10 seconds on the board as Who Are You is going to be able to push up.
I'm convinced we're going to end up seeing a second attempt of Gibraltar here, Vicky. I think Stalker's Blade is a great option. You got Vindame's beat as well. I think that the Shanghai Dragons can catch up here. The anti-heal coming in from that Rampage of Void, if that fight rings true, finds multiple members, it just takes out Prophet. Smurf needs to be the next target. They can convert that kill as well. It's pretty much a done deal. Stalker has the blade out, taken out Lip. Fitz will be able to find Lee Jae-gon before the Reign of Terror is ended.
Whoa.
Successful defense from the Seoul Dynasty. 1 minute 30 left on the clock. And the Shanghai Dragons still need to penetrate the defense right outside the spawn room.
Amazing news here for the Dynasty 2, Trid. Now they're going to also hold this corner, which could be so important in dwindling away this time bank from the Dragons. Minute, less than 20 seconds now on the clock. And it's only really Who Are You and Lee Jae-gon that are going to have their ultimates online for this final fight. Potentially Izayaki here, depending if he gets picked off first by Fitz.
Let's see him hold the line. There's the overclock from Fitz. Keep an eye on the HP bars. Shanghai Dragons, they'll wait.
Respect.
They'll respect it. Still got 100 left in the tank. Could take a cheeky shot here. Lee Jae-gon needs to hide. Blade from Who Are You. Knocked back immediately from Prophet. Goes for the re-engage. The sound barrier from Vindame is there to catch them. Who Are You gets a barrier to reinvigorate himself. Won't have the damage. Will have the defense. And Vindame and Smurf have been eradicated. The Shanghai Dragons need to make this fast. The spawn room is right outside them. They will be able to come back, but they cut through. Shut down all options of defense. 24 seconds of difference as we go through to our next attempt of Watchpoint Gibraltar.
Gotta love Who Are You's timing, not only with the deflect, the patience too. Even if he gets boinked away with the flail, he's still gonna be able to have enough time to split some of that focus to see exactly where Fitz is, just in case Fitz wants to get an off angle to get that charge railgun shot. Tries to go for the deflect, and even if the deflect doesn't land here, it's a respect from the rest of the Dynasty to give Who Are You some of that space where Who Are You is going to get enabled. The sound barrier too at the very end really helping out the Dragons.
Yeah, it just helps them stay competitive from a HP perspective. And now they get to go on the defense, and oh boy, their defense on point A was nutty, Vicky. The Seoul Dynasty really struggled to crack that one. If they have a similar performance, they can burn this 1 minute easy.
I see on the defense, this is exactly where Lip was shining with the Ashe before swapping over to the Sojourn on the attack. Those close quarter fights and the Dynamite really getting a lot of impact. You saw in that initial defense from the Dragons that Lip was able to get the Bob from the high ground and boink Vin Dame as he was making his way down, actually allowing the rest of the Dragons to clean up the Dynasty in that first fight. Let's see if we're going to see it again here.
Attackers incoming.
TP to get across, not getting caught out again on the low ground. Still go for the harassment. They force the Dragons back, but ultimately this is where the stall really came into effect, so not broken through the toughest part of this run just yet. Looking for Lip to get these headshots online. Railgun finds him. Oh, I'm just so used to saying Railgun now. If he just finds him on the Ashe, actually, he's going to be able to shut them down.
30 seconds remaining.
Seeing it so much, less than 30 seconds now to try to get this payload through that car wash. You see the way the Dynasty are just trying to force the Shanghai Dragons off on the high ground. It's the Dragons that are immediately trying to go for the accelerator, but now Stalker finding Lip is going to be the green light for the rest of the Dynasty to have that progress. Look at the disengage, though, from the Dragons. So quick to answer.
If they get staggered here, this is going to be unreal. They'll just give up point A at this point and let overtime trickle. They have to stay alive, try and keep their members in the game before it gets pulled back into the damage. And Stalker will clear them off. This makes it so hard to defend against point A, Vicky. The Seoul Dynasty have opened up Gibraltar for themselves.
Overtime now ticking away here too, Trade, while the rest of the Dragons wait to regroup. The high ground is in favor of the Dynasty. Overtime still on board while Smurf is stuck on that payload, but they're going to be able to get that first point. The Dragons are not going to engage here. Instead, they just want to hold their high ground in the second point, but they have to look for Fitz. Nice Dynamite as well as some early shots from Fitz.
We're in overtime now, Vicky. They just need to have one decisive fight win. They'll end the push, but it does create some difficulty with the spawns and being staggered out in the placement of the map. Lip alone has an eyes on Fitz. Who are used there for the assist to take him out? Needs to turn his attention to the main fight now. Stalker trying to return the favor. Both Junker Queens removed. Stalker has a blade, has to pull it out. The hopes of Shanghai lie on the edge of this. And he will cut down the rest of the Shanghai Dragons and keep the overtime push in effect. Enough time for the respawns to come in and make sure they have a 5v5 on the next clash.
Better clearance here for the Dynasty, having extra progress despite not having that time. Like you mentioned, and like we see currently, you can't get off this payload. Overtime ticking away, finding some of those headshot ticks here. Looking at Lee Jae-gon and Who Are You with those ultimates. Bob almost on board, but Prophet now popping the rally.
Starts the fight off with a bang. All support ultimates have been deployed so far. Who Are You? Time to one-up the rookie. Pull out the blade. You got nothing to stop you. Find Smurf. Turns his attention round to the back line. Fitz using the coach gun to disengage. Wants more value from the fight. Cannot escape the headshot that chases him back to the battle.
Fitz is disgusting. He cleans up 3 from the Dragons, and he keeps the Dynasty's hopes alive. Lip answering back just at the very end right there, but it's still the Dynasty getting the second point too, Trid. Love the coach gun used to push Who Are You away to prevent that blade from having any sort of impact, and while Who Are You thinks he's safe, he turns his back to Fitz, who is now going to make the quick swap over to the Sojourn.
Bob deployed. Rampage from Void finds the backline of the Seoul Dynasty. They could look to end it all here. Stalker's taken out Lee Jae-gon. Follows up on the Izayaki. Someone needs to stop Stalker, or we could erode even more. It takes a bot to do a man's job, as Bob will finish him off. That is a hell of a distance to be pushed towards. 24 seconds of difference isn't going to affect that. If you make it that far, Dragons, you're doing it in overtime.
With the momentum being on Dynasty's side for that push into the first point and that second point, Really, it trickled down to the Joker Queen all just having so much impact and clearing that point, but it charges so slow, so then you leave it first up to Who Are You to be able to get that blade, get the sustainability from Lee Jae-gon, but the blade just, again, didn't have that impact close to the ship right there, so they couldn't stop the Dynasty fast enough. What a push here from the Dynasty right now, too. The way that they were able to take control over that attack versus what we had first initially seen from the Dragons' defense, and the way that they were able to completely waste away that time. I mean, they almost got fully held before getting to that first point initially.
Attackers incoming. 30 seconds.
We're a little bit faster on point A, so there is some hope here for the Dragons, if you want to hope them they close out this series. The Ash flavor for Fitz. Lip. I don't know why you'd go for the change here. They might roll out with the Sojourn here after they get the Widow cheeky peek. It's worth the shot. You don't really lose anything for doing it.
4, 3, 2,
Let's see if they can be lucky,
attackers incoming.
truthful with their shots, and honest, and get themselves a quick pick up. Going to use the Symmetra TP, and we'll change over to the Sojourn. So we see a split in methodologies from the hit scan.
Look at the space, though, that the Dragons are actually going to be able to get for free for right now before maybe the Dynasty trying to go for a bait. You see the Dynamite coming in. The Dynasty said, all right, we are moving right back around past this building onto the high ground. And now the Dragons are going to be able to get this payload down through the car wash playing off of that low ground.
Yeah, they have the luxury of space. They have so much time to give here. So much distance to be able to burn through by having such a successful offense of their own. Stalker will be there to challenge the payload. He can easily get back up to the high ground if his team needs it. Here's the pathing that the Dragons took last time as well. They're going to go up the stairs and they're going to try and remove the Seoul Dynasty from Blue Box. Who Are You need some healing before they do that, though.
A little bit of difference here is that Lip doesn't have that Bob online being on the Sojourn, doesn't even have that overclock. Izayaki falls low, but the nice shout coming in from Void's going to help them stay on top of the high ground. Now the dive here from Who Are You to try to isolate Prophet, but it's not going to work out. The quick disengagement from the Dynasty.
Oh no, this is not good. Lee Jae-gon's gone down. Great answer back there from Lip. Need to find more though. Lip charging forward with the Raw, 5 HP. Very aggressive from them, as Void will take down Fitz as well. They've leveled out the hit scan. Reinforcements are coming in. Vindame already back on the scene. Overtime is in effect now. They cannot step off the payload. Izayaki has to be very conscious of this one. With Lee Jae-gon, they can't support a fight in the server and keep the payload moving. Prophet low. The cut through from Who Are You is there. Turns it around. Looking for Smurf, but will keep the fight on the payload. They have to. Smurf gets cut down. The resets send them to where the reinforcements are coming from, as Fitz will meet a similar fate. And the Shanghai Dragons get the extension. But it's all overtime from here, Vicky.
Gotta play the reversal card real quick here, too. I love the split attention that the Dynasty tried to use, but it didn't work on Who Are You, as now he's gonna try to stagger Prophet real quick. That's great, because with overtime now ticking down from the Dragons, there's no high ground advantage for the Dynasty. Now they have to wait out on Prophet. They're gonna take a little bit of extra time to get the rally, and it's really been Dane with the only ult support to really help sustain Stalker's Blade next.
Let's see what they do as they get through point B. Ult advantage definitely in favor of the Shanghai Dragons in terms of utility and performance when you look at the percentage. Void getting close to the Rampage. You've seen how he can turn a fight round with one of those. Here's the blade from Who Are You. Vindane uses the beat in response as expected. Rampage comes in from Void, finding Smurf and Prophet. Any kills to be converted? Not yet. Who Are You? Kept away. Fitz throws Bob into the mix. Rally from Izayaki. There's not a similar affair right now as Prophet still climbing towards there. Who Are You deflects the bullets, takes out Fitz. And there's Void finding Prophet, who keeps dying early in these fights. Vindame's the next target. Beautiful headshot from Lip. And the boys will clear through point C. There will not be another attempt of Watch Point Gibraltar, Vicky. The Shanghai Dragons only need to send in another 20 meters. But the Seoul Dynasty, they need to end the push now.
The sustainability from the Dragons is
Lip
way
winner?
too much. Oh, let's see if he can get one of those picks around the corner. This is the opportunity with Fitz making the swap over to the Tracer.
Look how much damage he's pumped into them already. The rally's there from Prophet for the counterattack. They just need 1-1 fight. Smurf only finds Void. Beautiful disengage from the Shanghai Dragons to mitigate the damage from that ultimate. They've kept him alive. Who Are You? Found Prophet. Fitz turned back on the Tracer. They've answered back with a kill onto Void. Lip is at the back here. A couple of headshots here can change the fighting fight. Stalker gets himself away from Fitz. The Tracer has to take the long way round to go and contest him. Dinks him, lowers the HP, takes out Smurf. Lip puts the team on his back, and the Shanghai Dragons will take first place in the Summer Showdown qualifiers.
Seed advantage and coming out on top in the APAC region here in the Summer Showdown qualifiers. Our Dragons do it, and they do it the best way that they can. Lip even on the Widow at the very end, closing it out. The desperate swaps for the Dynasty to try to eagerly get to the point trade. Is it going to be enough for them? What
Smiles
a showcase
around.
match here.
Smiles around for the Shanghai Dragons. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't even have to wait for production. I'm pretty sure they're going to tell me in a second that Lip is the player of the match. It's pretty easy to work out based on how things happened. What a performance from them at the end. Widowmaker just given the opportunity to operate, able to find not necessarily the picks, but we were watching Lip's POV on the Widow, chunking damage consistently. If he wasn't getting kills, he was dropping people sub 50% for the rest of his team to clean up on this all-important fight on the payload, where they physically could not step away. They could not disengage. They didn't have those luxuries anytime, and when Fitz came to come and deal with him, he had the grapple hook ready, he created some distance. What can the Tracer do apart from take the long way round? And at that point, it's not worth it. They go back to the payload, and they get sniped on the way back.
It's difficult too when you have Lip putting in so much pressure and not getting checked on the back line, only having the Tracer from the Dynasty to be able to put in that extra pressure. You just grapple away, you free all the way up into the top where you're going to have extra space, get extra time to be able to poke from the window on the high ground instead, get even a better positioning. What a good play from Lip to actually make that change at the very end where it mattered. The overtime was taken away from the Dragons, and I am hearing true that Lip is going to be the player of the match for this last series.
I would riot if that wasn't the case. I would just walk off the broadcast at this point if we didn't see a Lip player of the match. All important on the Sojourn. Consistent performances, shutdowns on Stalker all the time, constant picks on the Fitz earlier on in the series, pure dominance on the start of Watchpoint Gibraltar, where their picks on the Sojourn, on the Ashe, they were shutting every offensive option down for the Seoul Dynasty. Just an incredible performance from them today.
Nice to note here with no maps lost to the Dynasty, that the one map that the Dragons lost to, once again, now officially is Philly. You just gotta throw in that stat in there, Trid. It's nice to know that was the one and only map that the Dragons lost to. But then, the way that the Dragons dominated the rest of the APAC region, Dynasty were right next to them, but this was the series that determined who gets that first seed in the Summer Showdown, who gets that pick advantage, and it was Lip to put the cherry on top, wrap everything up with a nice bow on the gift.
Yeah, a couple of overtime pushes. You saw the scoreline having a 6-5 come in on Watchpoint Gibraltar. There it is, player of the match as Sojourn during this series, but we saw Lip make appearances on the Ashe and the Widowmaker this series as well. Widowmaker right at the end to lock down the sight lines and control from afar that final seconds of the overtime push.
Really nice stat line here too, 93 elims, 31 final blows. That pressure too from Lip, not only making the swap to the Ashe and having that success, but as well as a Sojourn that we saw earlier on in the series really paying off for the Dragons.
Absolutely. But yeah, that's it. The clash we were all waiting for, ending quite abruptly, did deliver, I still think, even though we only had 3 maps. I'm sure people were expecting more to come out of that one. Does bode very well for the Shanghai Dragons as they look towards the tournament, which is the next stage that's coming up. That clears out all the qualifiers for the Eastern region, but that's not the end of the Overwatch action today. Of course, we have North America still to come. They are trying to sort out their seeding for the tournament, which is the next stage. I've been Trid, this has been Vicky. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll hopefully see you sometime soon. Thank you.